너무 오랜만에 영호랑 경기하는 거니까 한번 뽑아봤습니다. 경기로 보여드리겠습니다.
막아도 막아도 지속적으로 오는 뮤탈 히드라 밸런스 게임에 막아서질 못했습니다. 로커예요.
자 위기
들어가면 안 되거든요.
자 이거 라케노 주가 힘들어가 도와요. 지제 역시 공군 이대로 죽음의 중에서 가장 먼저 8강 진출.
이재호 뭐하려?
보호 이재호 선수, 김지성 선수의 발목 잡혔어요.
꿀이
이게 달라진 이재호의 모습.
탱크 하나가 왕이에요 지금. 완벽하게 차이가 났습니다. 너무 차이가 났어요.
배틀은 단단해요. 지제 끝까지 포기하지 않고 8강에 맞은 진출자가 됩니다.
What is up, everybody? What a special day. I guess a whole week, actually, here for ASL. We've got some incredible matches. 2 back-to-back, possibly 2 of the greatest matches we may ever see in StarCraft Tastosis. It's going to be real special.
Oh my God. I cannot wait for this. I think personally, like, obviously everyone looks at that and says, oh my God, Jaedong, he took down Bisu, he took down Flash. Flash Jaedong is one of the greatest rivalries ever. And that's great. But that was a best of one. Going up against Light, I feel like this is the real test for Jaedong. If he can beat Light, this season is absolutely one that he can take down. Light has historically been, in this modern era, the hardest opponent for Jaedong. The brick wall of Light's play is, for Jaedong, harder than the optimized play from Flash. Like, styles make matchups, right? Like, Jaedong is a very decisive Zerg, and he can beat people like Flash who are cutting every corner, but Light doesn't do that. Light plays safe as can be. There's no holes there. You have to outmuscle him, and if Jaedong can do that, that's going to be huge.
It's going to be very interesting. Jaedong is looking stronger than really he's ever been, other than, you know, when you go to his peak back in the kind of golden era of StarCraft 1, pre-StarCraft 2, around that kind of 2007, 2008, 9 period. And, you know, he's always been a huge draw for viewership, for a live audience. But he never looked as strong as he was. And for the first time ever, I feel like he looks like he could absolutely go the whole way. But I think you're right, Artosis. This is going to be a huge test here to see if he can get past Light, because I think out of all the players in the ASL, Light is probably the most likely to at least to have been able to beat him in the past. I guess we're going to find out more about that here tonight.
Yes, exactly. And Light is in really good shape right now. He is really peaking at the moment. He's been performing very well outside of ASL as well. So I can't wait. And I'm especially excited to see how Light wants to play, because everyone's been having a harder time with Bio, but suddenly Zergs are doing better against Mech, and it feels like Bio's having a slight resurgence. So will he be going more Marines and Medics? Will he be going more Vultures and Tanks? Is he going to have a lot of Starport openings? I just don't know what this is going to look like today, which is weird because normally I know every single thing Light's going to do in a series, and I just don't feel that way today.
And of course, after this broadcast, we have Snow versus Flash coming up next. That is going to be one of the greatest PvTs that's ever been played in the game. Previously, Snow managed to beat Flash in a best of 5, which had basically been unheard of. I think it had been over, what was it, like 10 years?
Yeah.
Since Flash had lost a best of 5 in that. And,
yeah.
You know, the rematch is going to be here tonight. So, I mean, this is just going to be a crazy week. I'm so excited. I couldn't ask for a better ZVT here. Light has been a mainstay fixture here in the whole Terran scene since ASL, you know, where Flash has had moments of celebrity and moments of fame here. He's also been gone for periods in the ASL, whereas Light has never really gone away, has been consistently very strong. And this should be a really cool one to see here, because if Light can beat him, I think he can beat anybody.
Yeah. He's Light is not, the step Terran. He's the Terran that stepped up. Okay, like he's actually, for Terran players, he's the most important Terran out there. He's like the guy that you learn from. He has the best guides. In fact, you've said this, that some of the best Protoss guides are by Light as well. Like he's an ultimate teacher. He's such an important player for anyone who actually plays the game. It's crazy.
Well, he's got a very good, straightforward approach. Obviously, in tournament games, he has some pretty interesting, crazy builds, but a lot of the time, he's just a very solid player. Definitely somebody that if you wanted to learn the game as a Terran player, you could study. Even his explanations for Protoss, I thought were very sound and again, very to the point. I'm mostly curious what kind of game Jaedong is going to bring here today, because Jaedong does have the full range of play, and I'm wondering, can he go toe-to-toe with Light? Will he try to go toe-to-toe? Or is he going to try to do some kind of circumventing where he's going to come in with a weird tech or a weird unusual opening at the start and try to throw Light off? How exactly do you navigate a best-of-5 ZVT against one of the most stable, if not the most stable, Terran vs. Zerg player there is and has ever been?
Yeah, like the place that Jaedong has struggled against Light in the past is when Jaedong's trying to hold a third base before lurkers are ready or before defilers are ready. That little area, which is only a few minutes long, that's where Jaedong loses most of his macro Zerg versus Terrans. And there's not a lot of great workarounds. You can come up with things where you're like counterattacking or something, or you have a lurker trap, but those are like not things you can rely on consistently. So that's like, I feel like that's the area. If Light falls back into the bio play that he's really tied with Flash as the best in the world at, that's where I think we get to see like how just straight up strong is his opponent.
Hello and welcome to the third round of 8 match here at ASL Season 21, done in partnership with Google Play. In last week's matches, Soma and Lita claimed victory as they move on to the round of 4. What awaits you this week are matches that it would not be an overstatement to say these are like semi-finals games themselves. Let's meet our two protagonists ahead of today's match. It's Jaedong and Light. Hi, good to see you. Hi. First up, we have Jaedong, who is continuing on his upward trend as he survives the group of death in the round of 16 with 3 clean wins. I'm sure you watched the round of 8 bracket draw live. Never mind Light, in what world do I get both Flash and Snow on the same side of the bracket as well? I remember you saying. Still, what feeling did you get as you were preparing for this match? Well, this is regrettable. But you know, during the group selection ceremony, there was Light and Flash, and I picked Flash because I knew if I had picked Light, we would still play in the round of 8. I came here with a winning mindset. For a while now, it's been clear that you're ever so determined this season. When it comes to Light and his round of 16 though, he had to take a difficult road to get here. He also said that whoever you play, it's never easy to make the round of 8. How are you feeling right now ahead of the match against Jaedong? I thought it would be easy in the round of 16 as practice went really easy. But it was difficult to get this result. Practice went well once again for this round of 8 and it does get me worried. Jaedong is also a player you never know what he will play. I prepared a lot. I want to win and advance today. Light is actually getting worried because practice went well. Now, the two of you actually faced off against each other in the round of 8 just about a year ago when Light won 4-1 and moved on to the semi-finals. You're both in different shapes right now compared to then, and I'd like to hear how you feel about one another. Jaedong, how do you feel about Light's current form?
잘했고 지금도 여전히 잘하는.
I think he was good back then, and he's still just as good right now.
이재호 선수는 어떠신가요? 뭘 할지 모르는
And
이재호
what about you,
선수라고
Light?
약간
You did
말씀해
mention that
주시긴
Jaedong
했지만,
is difficult to predict.
잘했긴 했는데 대회에서는 좀
He was good even then, but he'd make a lot of mistakes in tournament play.
제가 본 이재동 선수는
But nowadays, it feels like the good old Jaedong is back. He's not anxious, he makes no mistakes.
오늘 실수를 안 해야 이길 수 있을 것 같습니다.
So I will have to be
서로
flawless today if I want to win.
실수하지 말자라는 각오를 좀 다지고 계신 것 같습니다.
Looks like both players know they can't make any mistakes. Looking at the win predictions we have, Jaedong coming in at 55% and Light at 45%. There's a 10% difference in people's predictions for you two. I think many are basing a lot on the momentum you are bringing this season, Jaedong. What do you think about these predictions?
그래도 16강에서 이용호, 김태경을 이기고.
Well, I did beat Flash and Bisu in the round of 16 to advance here, so I think it makes sense.
더큰 차이를 혹시 내심 기대하고
Were
계시지
you
않았나
perhaps
싶은
hoping
생각도
for this
드는데요.
difference to be
10%
even
약간
bigger?
적은가요?
Is 10% not enough?
1년 전에 제가 졌기 때문에.
No, I did lose last year, and Light is not an easy opponent.
그렇게 나온 것 같습니다.
That's why I think these percentages are the way they are. Light did win 4-1, but another thing that is different this time is that you are not playing a best of 7, but a best of 5. This change can make all the difference. I'm curious about your score prediction. Light?
잘 풀리면 3대 1일 것 같고요.
If things go well, it'll be a 3-1. If things get difficult, 3-2. Light is not expecting this to be a one-sided affair. And what do you think, Jaedong?
저도 잘 모르겠어요. 워낙.
Oh, I don't know either. We're having a hard time figuring each other out.
근데 쉽지 않은 승부가 될 것 같긴 합니다.
But yeah, I don't think it'll be an easy match either way. These two are keeping their cards hidden ahead of this third round of 8 match. I'm sure many people will be watching this with bated breath given what the bracket is like. Let's ask our players for their final remarks to close things out. Jaedong?
일단 8강인데
It's the round of 8, and last time I said I would make it all the way and win the championship. If I want to make the round of 4 and the finals, I definitely need to win today, right? I'll win no matter what. Can't wait. And a word from Light, please. I'll win today and advance to the semi-finals and the grand final. Got it. Looking forward to a cool match from the two of you. Thanks for the interview. You're watching the third round of 8 match here at ASL Season 21, done in partnership with Google Play. Jaedong and Light, who will stay alive and move on to the semi-finals. It's time to start the games.
I'm so excited to get this started, Artosis. I mean, this is going to be such a cool ZVT coming into this. And, you know, in a lot of ways, this season's been a dream come true. I mean, we're getting some incredible matchups here, some big surprises, by the way. I mean, I'm obviously the most excited about Snow versus Flash tomorrow because, my God, I mean, you couldn't ask for a more exciting PvT. But at the same time, even seeing players like Lei get this far has been so unusual. And I think this match is going to just be so crazy, especially if Jaedong advances.
Yeah. Like, I think that's what most people are hoping for, is Jaedong taking down Light here. But, I mean, either way, Light is playing so well right now. Jaedong is playing so well. In the pro leagues that they play, Jaedong is really dominating. Like, he is absolutely crushing. I don't know how to say it. Like, I don't know which way that this is going to go. But you can see the matchup history, as I mentioned before. Light really is like the hardest opponent for Jaedong in the modern era. Every single time I see them play, Light crushes. So
it just,
yeah,
it doesn't seem like Light has any obvious
I tell you, if Jaedong does it, we have to. Well, we're already looking at him in a different way because he's been playing so unbelievably well. But I feel like that has to level up because if this guy, well, he has been Jaedong's toughest opponent. So if Jaedong takes him out, we already know Jaedong is godly Zerg vs. Zerg. And then he's beaten the strongest straight-up Macro Terran. He's already beaten Flash. His ZVP is actually supposed to be his best matchup, so Snow wouldn't be that hard for him probably, right? Like, he might be the favorite if he beats Light here tonight.
You could be right, man. We're going to go into this best of 5 now, guys. Match point, Jane Doe, Sylphid, Polestar, and Octagon will be our 5 maps. And I would not be shocked if we do go to a Game 5. I think Light is slightly favored here. A lot of the fans probably more leaning towards hoping Jaedong advances, but it's not, I think, a game that could possibly ever be one-sided with these two.
Oh, I think it's going to be highly contested for sure. Very interesting map to start. Match point chosen by Jaedong, very aggressive map. Jane Doe by Light, a very defensive map, as it should be. This is going to be a great series.
Okay, Jaedong in the bottom left and Light here in the top right. Real quick, guys, just consider signing up for the Patreon, if you would, patreon.com/ASL English. It's been so good to be back every season.
It truly has. And this season, this is going to be remembered as one of those legendary seasons, I think.
I think so.
It's like this season, Flash playing random. I honestly feel like those are kind of the two most hyped seasons. And it's funny, they both kind of have to do with Flash, right? The greatest player ever. But this season feels like Jaedong is even a bigger story than Flash. And the Tolbo Leda stuff as well. One of these really big stories where it's like all these underdogs are overperforming. You know, Jaedong, the greatest Zerg of all time, is back in form. And Flash playing his last ASL. There's just so much coming together for this season. So thank you guys for supporting. Once again, check out the Patreon, patreon.com/ASL English. It's been amazing.
You can see how packed it is in the studio, by the way. These tickets were almost impossible for people to get. I had a lot of people reach out to me. And it's just, you know, these sold out literally, I think, within like a minute or two. Not surprising, you know. I think one of the big factors here is not just, you know, Jaedong as the player, but Jaedong as the person. I think this is one of the guys that really made, in the early days of esports, he made it cool. Very similar to Slayer's Boxer. He's very telegenic, very charismatic when, you know, he talks on camera. Had certainly a lot more personality back then than the other pros. Obviously still has a lot of personality now. And, you know, being from that era, and we're talking about like StarCraft as peak cable TV in Korea. And, you know, it's funny. We're so used to everything. Like, you know, people watch streams like Twitch or SOOP. They are on YouTube. Everybody has Netflix, and maybe you've got like Apple TV or Disney Plus or whatever. But this game got big in a time when it was like, we're talking about kind of like the era of MTV, you know? You know, everybody had to wait for a program to come on at a certain time. You had to know which channel to go to. You know, people were discovering StarCraft at times by channel surfing, like you would a long time ago. And maybe for some of you guys listening, you don't have a cable package. I know that's pretty common now, but maybe you never experienced that. But it was crazy to see that there was a game that could be an esport, you know, a huge esport, I should say, not just like a viable one, but a huge one that was watched in a medium that is so old and has been managed to kind of come all the way to now, where all these pro gamers are also basically streamers full time, and YouTubers and in the content creation game, similar to what we're doing, Tastosis. But it's crazy to see the journey this game has been on, and to see that someone from that period way in the past is here now and could go all the way to the finals of this ASL.
Oh, I know, it's so exciting, and you're making me nostalgic, man. When I When I first moved to Korea and lived in the Eastro Pro house, the TV upstairs in the living room, man, was like always on StarCraft. Like you could just always turn it on and watch. It was so awesome sitting down and watching matches on a couch instead of like a blurry stream from New Hampshire. It was amazing.
Yeah, I remember getting well, you know, when you move to Korea, it takes a while to get everything set up, right? But I eventually did have like a cable package and a TV, and I would like turn the TV on to the StarCraft channel when it was you know, when I was home. I just kind of leave the TV on, and you know, it wasn't, you know, always live games. Most of it was reruns, but it was basically always on. You could always watch StarCraft any point in time of the day. So yeah, I mean, it was a very, very cool time, and you know, kind of like the way that people are nostalgic for like Blockbuster or I don't know, these things from the past that were nice. I think a lot of people kind of have a lot of happy memories of that time in Korea specifically. Obviously, if you were a fan, you know, as a foreigner, as a non-Korean, in other words, I mean, you were on websites like Team Liquid and connecting with communities there. But yeah, I mean, I just think it's really special that we've got him here now.
Yeah.
And we're going to see how he performs. So going into this game, it was very quick 1-1-1 tech here from Light. He went with a Wraith opening into an expand.
Yeah, and he's got some vultures. He's making the engineering bay, of course, to block the mutalisks coming in. My best bet here is that he's going to go for 3 cloaked wraiths and go for just a standard 1-1-1 timing. Well, it's not completely standard because I'm pretty sure he got vulture speed. So like vulture speed plus some cloaked wraiths, unless he made an armory. If he made an armory, that's the new vulture Valkyrie build. But and he actually got mines. Very interesting. A lot of players have been going speed first right now. Like the Terran vs. Zerg meta is completely on its head. But the fact that he's open mines, already caught a bunch of Zerglings with that is quite nice. And he is going for that Wraith build. So this is like an older 1-1-1. 1-1-1 referring to 1 barracks, 1 factory, 1 starport. And you just get like a bunch of tech units basically and try to hold off the initial attacks of Zerg. So he'll have... normally what you do is you go for 3 cloaked wraiths, you have some vultures out there as your defense potentially, like he has here, and you'll go into Science Vessel and Marine Medic off of this normally. We'll see if that's what he's going to do, but like it's an older build, but still a viable one.
Yeah, interesting to see that this is the build we're going to have. I don't know why, but in my head this wasn't in the cards from Light. I think Light tends to play more standard games. But, you know, so far, this has gone pretty smoothly. The biggest interaction we want to watch for is the Wraiths versus the Mutas, because Wraiths are very flimsy and die very fast, but if they get the cloak off and there's no Overlords around, Wraiths can moving shot just like Mutalisks can. So you can actually chase Mutalisks across the map and kill off a ton, if not all of them.
And they actually have longer range, so it's actually even easier than the Mutalisk moving shot. They do a fantastic job. You notice he picked off that Overlord, really, really important. Jaedong flying in now, looking to see exactly what's going on. He's going to scout exactly what I was talking about there. He sees +1 going in the engineering bay. He sees the science facility, and here come the 3 cloaked wraiths to just push those Mutalisks back. So this is going to be something that Jaedong has absolutely played against, but not as much recently. Most 1-1-1 builds right now are going for like a very quick Valkyrie. Like that's very, very popular right now, Valkyrie rushing. And that's somewhere that like a Scourge Muta can sometimes just disable it. But with the 3 Wraiths, it's like you're just relying on those to bridge the gap in between when the Mutas hatch and when you get a Radiate out.
Both sides doing a lot of work here to try to keep everything cleared on the map. Oh, he's got the Wraiths in here. He's going to have to take this Overlord out. I don't know if the Mutalisks are going to come back here in time. They do not. And Light is buttoned up pretty tight, throwing down all of his barracks over here. The 2 Wraiths are on the move. There's no way. I can't believe he did that, actually. I was going to say there's no way he can kill that Overlord in time, and he didn't. But I guess he was never that committed with these Wraiths either. Just seeing what he can get done at this phase of the game. By the way, where Zerg expands, you know, remember that this is a map without a lot of expansions. Each side gets up to 5 bases. You basically expand in like an L, or like, you know, one of those Tetris pieces. I think you guys know what I'm talking about. You can see where the Zerg would probably fit into the top. Or, you know, Light would fit his final base into the bottom. like a knight moving on a chessboard or something. But you know, when you have a limited number of bases in or locations you can possibly take, right? Unlike a 4-player map where there's a ton of spots, you can maybe hide a base or at least buy extra time before they can figure out where you're at. It changes the game a little bit because when you're on one of these bases that's, you know, it's going to be somewhat predictable, you have to be ready to hold it. And we talked early on before this match started that Jaedong probably is going to be weakest in between the layer to Hive Tech.
Yeah.
Speaking of Hive Tech, Queen's Nest is about to finish. So that Hive Tech is going to start. But a lot of times Light's able to get in there and do that damage before. And when I'm talking about Hive Tech, I'm really talking about when Consume's done on the Defiler. That's kind of the, you know,
yes.
The all of the tech sort of leads up to Defiler with Consume.
Absolutely.
But yeah, once Consume is done there, then, you know, if Jaedong can get to that point, I think he's going to be in a good spot.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting because this is always how this build looks. It's going to walk out. The mutas alone can't stop it because you're going to have multiple irradiates. He's got siege tanks. He's got marines and medics. So it's a really strong push timing. The counter that when this was super popular back in like maybe ASL Season 6 or so, somewhere in that range, this was a really popular build back then. And the most popular way to beat it was a fast +1 carapace and Lurker Hydroling, along with obviously any mutas you have left over. But I don't know if Jaedong is going to have all that ready here. Like, this push looks like it should kill the third base. And if you kill the third base, Terran is always ahead.
Yeah, I mean, this whole push is intended to basically kill off this third base. The Lurkers are not here yet. This Sunken Colony is going to finish, but it's not going to have anything to cover it. The Lurkers are going to run up right now. They're going to burrow. There's a decent amount of surface area here, though. Is he going to be able to kind of wedge himself in here and do a little bit more damage? Light comes in. Oh my god, this angle, it's so tough to call who's going to take it. I think Light has a slightly better surround, but the Lurkers are actually lasting quite a while. The Lings are tanking very nicely. Dude, Jaedong did it.
That is crazy. That is just wild that he did that. That he held
insane.
That. Does he have
Light
+1?
Targeted.
Like, does he have +1 carapace? Because it felt like those Lurkers. I was like, no, he's gonna kill that. I feel like he has +1 carapace. So, yeah, he does. So he had +1 carapace right at the beginning of that. That made all the difference. If he didn't have that, I think Light crushes that attack.
Oh, what am I seeing? How are these both alive? That's insane. Okay, we were just talking about how he's going to hold it, but when he pushes back up here, I don't know that there's enough to actually fight this. Good control by Light so far. He's reinforcing. There are games where Zerga wins after losing the third base, but they're few and far between. And it seems like Light just had enough. He just had enough to get in here and basically do that damage. And, you know, that's going to be a GG. So the game panned out in a way that we were concerned for, Tastosis. We were talking about this beforehand. You know, Jaedong has to finish. He has to get across the finish line of that Defiler tech upgrade off of the back of the Hive. And basically, Light came in there with a push, the window timing. You come in, you get the kill off right before there's the power spike for the Zerg. And Jaedong wasn't ready. And I don't know if it was because the Hydras weren't morphed up by the ramp. It seemed like he tried to morph the Lurkers in between the third and the second. Maybe he was worried about some kind of counterintuitive, but also brilliant play where maybe Light pushes the natural because the third's over defended. But Light with a straightforward win, textbook TVZ win. Guys, we're going to go to a short break. When we come back, game 2 in this best of 5.
Got lost, turned myself around. pieces and look at what I found. A little me, a little you, and now all I had to do was go left, right, then we step. Traveling this road, taking every step. Higher we go with every step. Making sure I don't trip over my step. Never going slow, quicking up my step. Step, 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 step. Now it's my body. Everybody's watching me body. And they wanna know how I step. How I switch from left to right to left. From left to right to left. It ain't personal. I just got the soul. It's a kind of glow. It's just how I get when nobody's left. And I get to flex. Got lost, turned myself around, picked up the pieces and look at what I found. A little me, a little you, and now all I had to do was go left, right, then we step. Traveling this road, taking every step. Higher we go with every step. Making sure I don't trip over my step. Never going slow, quicking up my step. Step, 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 step.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for waiting.
ASL Season21 8강 세 번째
Yeah, a
경기
very,
이재동 선수와
very
이재호 선수의 대결
straightforward
함께
loss,
보고 계십니다.
Tastosis.
앞서
If you were
오늘의
to
첫
explain the
번째
matchup,
세트에서는
Terran
이재호
versus Zergan,
선수가 빠른 러시 타이밍을
try to tell
가져가면서
somebody what it
승리를
looks like when
챙겼는데요.
Terran usually
이재호
wins.
선수가 1대
That's
0으로
basically the
앞서
game.
나가고 있는 가운데 두 번째 세트
Light
만나보시기에 앞서서 이벤트
actually chose his build for that map, I think, very, very smartly. That build is really safe. It's really hard to do anything against it. You just clear the Overlord that's near you. You have cloaks, so the mutas can't really do anything. And you always hit that same timing push where you're leaving your base between 9 and 10 minutes. Like, that's exactly what the build is. And that's the weak point for Zerg. That's like a droning phase when they're trying to get up to Hive. So he actually took Jaedong's weakness and used a build that specifically hurts that weakness as well. It's like a general Zerg weakness, that timing. But like for Jaedong, that has always been what has been hard for him in Zerg vs Terran in this modern era. So I think that was perfectly planned by Light. And that doesn't bode well because that was Jaedong's map choice.
Yeah, and when Light does that kind of stuff, there's nothing really fancy about it. And I mean that in the most complimentary way possible. Like, he's just a robust pushing Terran. I thought Jaedong had a pretty decent angle with the lurkers. You know, it can be kind of tough to tell when you see some of these fights how lurker Marine, you know, with tank is going to interact, because both sides have very brittle units, right? So there's moments where the lurker spines will shoot out and kill everything. There's moments where the stimmed Marines and the siege tank kill everything before the lurker spikes can shoot out. So it creates a really climactic fight where, you know, you're on the edge of your seat until you see what the outcome's going to be. Jaedong, it seemed like he almost had held it, but he actually had to trade out, I think it was 5 lurkers in the fight, and you know, that's a bit of a problem. A lot of TVZ, and this seems to have been a little bit less common, but if you've watched StarCraft for a while, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. A lot of games you see 1 to 2 Hydras morph at a ramp. And the eggs, which, you know, their armor is so high, they almost can't be killed by Marines, basically. Certainly not Marines shooting from low ground to high ground. So a lot of times you'll see the eggs made to block access up to the high ground, which he could have done there, but, you know, he didn't know the Terran was going to push from that angle.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm kind of laughing. They just doxed someone's email on the stream. But that is hilarious. You're like, oh, let's get this shot. Okay, cool. Anyways, yeah, honestly, if Light's push had been about 5 seconds slower, or his reinforcements had been about 5 seconds slower, the game would have went on, right? It would have turned into like a very interesting big macro game. But Light was super sharp. He executed so well. Mechanically, Light is god tier. You know, I don't think you can realistically say anyone is better than him mechanically, maybe equal to him. But the guy just produces like the maximum amount of units that you can get with these regular builds. So we're going to go into Jane Doe next. Jane Doe definitely has some mind games involved. It's definitely a more defensive map. You know, you start on that high ground and you have that expansion behind. There are so many builds that can be done here, and I don't know what Light has planned for it. As far as Jaedong, I guess there are definitely some cheeses and stuff that he could try out, or he could just play a big macro game, right? If you get to very late game, Zerg is favored.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun one. A game that, you know, we're not going to be seeing unless we have another Jane Doe-esque map in the pool. We've seen a lot of really creative ideas, by the way, on this map. I don't know if there's any cheeses that can come out of this. Let's not forget Jaedong did crazy cheeses to Bisu to beat him on this map. There's a lot of, you know, whenever you get a map that's this unique, sometimes someone can come up with the perfect strategy where you can't really prep for it. So Light's going to have to be on the watch out for that.
Yeah. I'm really excited to see how this one goes down as far as strategies, right? Like Jaedong, we saw him do like the 1-hatch lurker bust on this map against Bisu. Light has to take that into consideration. Jaedong's willing to do crazy cheeses as well, so he might just have to wall in and play a normal opener.
Okay, Jaedong here on the far right and Light here on the far left. You know, if let's say Jaedong did go for a cheese here and it loses, oh my God.
Yeah.
Does this series take a weird direction, right? Our fear for Jaedong did turn out to be true, right? Like, you know, he basically lost in the mid game.
Yep.
And you can even see graphs when it comes to high-level play of which race ends the game at which time. And there's a unique thing that happens where, you know, a lot of times the Terran kills the Zerg sort of in the middle of the game. The Zerg will win either at the earlier part or the later part. The same is true for Protoss versus Terran. Terran tends to push and basically kill the Zerg. Kill the Protoss. Or the Protoss wins in the late game or does something, you know, crazy, wins in the early game. And then if you're curious in PvZ, the last matchup that's not a mirror matchup, Protoss is the one that has to push. So Protoss is a little bit like the Terran. When they win, it's usually typified. Oh, it's Firebat Hero. Nice. It usually happens kind of in the mid game, towards the late mid game. But if they don't do it then, the Zerg tends to win. And that's not to say that, you know, and like in this matchup as an example, that Zerg can't win end game. Or sorry, the Terran can't win an end game against Zerg. That's not the case at all. But it just means it's more likely that's the outcome.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that one race is stronger than the other. It means the matchup operates in a certain way. And, you know, we saw Light kind of exemplify his perfection in how he plays the matchup and how he was able to just get in there with just enough to push to basically shut the third base down. I would assume the Defiler mound was done, but yeah, there was no Defiler out, there was no Consume, which means there's not the ability to recast Dark Swarm over and over and basically push the game into the end game.
Yeah. StarCraft is such an interesting game, and to put this in perspective, guys, like basically there's been a ton of statistics done, and this is kind of already known by pro gamers, but for Terran specifically, Terran is a timing attack oriented race. So there's like that window that Light hit, which is like 9 minutes through 11 minutes is Terran favored in Terran vs. Zerg. And then there's another window around 22 minutes where Terran is favored. And everywhere other than that, that's where you want to go as Zerg, right? Like if you get to the Supreme late game, like Zerg becomes super strong. Their supply is just so strong. Their spellcasters are so strong. So it's kind of, there's an onus on Terran to get in there and mix it up before then to hit one of these little timing windows. I think it's a little bit harder to do it somewhere like this. And by the way, look at that.
How did this get in there? What?
Yeah, he glitched that. Like, I think what happened, I think that people have figured this out, where if you stand right next to one of those units and then you tell it to mine at your base, because he can't see the mineral patches. In StarCraft 2, you can click through Fog of War and mineral patches. You can't do that in StarCraft 1. You have to actually see them actively. So I think he clicked at home and then hit stop really quick, and the glide started while it was overlapping with like the Marine or the Medic, and then popped that unit to the side. There's like so many little tricks that people are doing. Huh?
That's a den. That's a Hydra den, right?
I believe so.
Okay. It's like it's an evolution chamber. It's another spawning pool. I mean, I just wish he would have clicked on it. Or if he did, I missed it.
Yeah.
Okay, so it is going to be a Hydra den. Now, he showed that to him, but there's a mind game going on here that's pretty advanced. Is if you see somebody make something at the last second while you're scouting them, at the pro level, you kind of go, you're not really doing that. Right? And Hydra Den is much, much riskier. Okay, hold on a second. I'm going to talk about that, but this is insane. So he's going to show the Hydras, and that's going to drive this away. But of course, when you show the Hydras, you're also revealing that you let the Hydralisk Den finish. So the point I was trying to make earlier is that if you show the Hydra Den when they scout at the last second, you might think this is a bluff. And in some ways, it seems like it might actually be an advanced bluff, because he's made Hydras. I don't know if he's got the lurker upgrade. There's no way for us to see with the way the game's designed and the way we spec it, but he is getting a Spire after this. So again, I don't know if I'm reading into this too much, but it seems like he may be baiting the Terran into making this bunker and maybe making all these turrets, and then it's possible the lurkers never come, Artosis.
Yeah, I don't think it is going to be lurker. I think it is going to be Muta.
Yeah.
But Light, like, hasn't really flinched. He's going 2-port Wraith. So, like, 2-port Wraith can battle against Mutalisk reasonably well. It matters how good you are at the micro and everything. Light is pretty high level with Wraiths. Not quite Leda, but very, very good with them. But you still have to do things like make missile turrets. Now, this first Wraith is coming over to scout. He sees the eggs pulsating together. So those three are probably the same units. And he sees the Spire done. So I think he's looking at this and saying, okay, there's mutas on the way. So he's going to have to start building some missile turrets. But I think his engineering bay only just got started.
He canceled something back at home.
Yeah, I think it might have been the eBay.
It was the eBay. Okay, so he's restarting it now. And now we got to see what Jaedong can get done here. Light, by the way, I mean, really, overall, reading this very well. We see the bunker is going to get thrown down here in the main. This is basically like a substitute for the turrets that can't be quite made just yet. And he's going to go for that Wraith Cloak. So this is going to be a very aerial game going forward here. Jaedong going to be on 3 bases to Light's 2, by the way.
Yeah, he's definitely going to have the better economy, but being able to go 2-port Wraith off of 2 bases is something that is kind of rare.
Right.
like on 1 base, you can kind of fight Zerg. On 2 base, not only can you make enough Wraiths to keep those mutas back if you're very good at it, but you can actually transition a lot easier to like a mid-game army once again. So Light will probably be trying to get into like a Marine medic army to go with his Wraiths to try to hit a timing push. But yeah, this game is wide open right now. Like, I don't feel like one player is winning or losing or anything like that. It's very interesting tech choices, and it's going to come down heavily to execution.
Okay, he's going to come up now. Now, Cloak is done, which means you can kill with impunity. You need to have an Overlord here to protect this. And there's like none over here, by the way. And he doesn't have Overlord speed yet. So Jaedong eating a lot of damage. Apparently, 3 Overlords were in transit across the middle of the map and are coming back now. And when you see that Cloak is done, I mean, it's a really rough moment because suddenly Zerg has to reposition everything. Now, he was in vision range for a little bit, but you can see, you can basically micro Wraiths literally like their Mutalisks. Like, they have the same micro capabilities. So he's doing that Muta micro with the Wraiths here. But eventually, Jaedong chases him back. And just to be clear, for those that don't know, Mutalisks versus Wraiths, if they can both attack each other, the Mutas always win. Mutas are much stronger than Wraiths. They do much more damage. Mutalisks are basically the best unit in the game.
Yeah.
When you look at the cost, how controllable they are, the fact that you can get them to bunch together really tightly by locking an Overlord on the other side of the map in the control group.
Yeah, Mutas are absolutely absurd. The general tier list is the best units of the game are the Zergling, the Mutalisk, and the Defiler, followed by High Templar and Vulture. Like, those units are all completely insane. And Mutas are just, they're so flexible. They can do so much for you. They can be your main army. They can be harassment. They can be scouting. It's like, it's wild. And he's got quite a few of them, but there's good anti-air here. You can see that Light is adding in quite a few barracks. He's getting ready for this timing attack to come up. And look at this. The Overlord's coming up. He's going to try to bust him here with these Mutas.
Yeah, he's going to come in here, and he does not actually kill the turret, so he eats a decent amount of damage without really getting anything done. He's going to go for these stray depots. Now, when you don't have vision, I mean, the glaives are not even going to connect on these Wraiths here. But again, as long as the Overlords can see, you can get snipes off.
That depot kill was actually surprisingly good because Light is actually struggling with his depots, which almost never happens. Like, this guy generally never gets supply blocked, but he actually had a massive one there where we were watching his racks and none of them were blinking. And once again, here he is, maxed out on his supply. Like, he's been supply blocked multiple times, and you can see that he's not as comfortable with a build like this as he is with standard builds. Like, again, It's so rare to see Light supply blocked in any matchup.
Yeah, I mean, any pro gamer for that matter in ASL, when you see 5 buildings all not blinking. And there's a big Hydra tech coming below this. So, I mean, Jaedong's playing a really good game. He is going to go for that Queen's Nest. I don't know if it's going to be immediately for Defilers or not. I mean, Defiler is kind of the default, what you want to get, but you know, there are other things off of Hive Tech that you can go for.
Yeah, Crazy Zerg is okay against this, but I don't know if it's fast enough. So I think probably you want to go into Defiler from here, especially since he already has Hydralisks out. It wouldn't be really Crazy Zerg anymore anyways. But look at this movement from Light. This is fantastic. He's using the range on these Wraiths to really help keep the Mutas back. If it was just the Mutas versus those Marines, the Mutas would win, but the Wraiths really, really helping out.
Okay, the Wraiths are coming up. He's got lurkers here. Again, he's shot down so many Overlords. Now Jaedong's supply blocked. Obviously, the Hydras are going to fare really well against the Wraiths. It really makes you, by the way, appreciate the range that Wraiths have with those air-to-air missiles. Like, it is kind of crazy. It seems like Light still wants to go for the classic push here. The Hive Tech is... no, never mind. It's not done yet. It's coming along. So, you know, it's funny, no matter how this game ends up, Light kind of intends to play this the way that we've seen it played all along here. You know, he's going to have this push come out here. He's not sending units on rally points across the map. He's instead of letting things kind of chunk up and then move out when it feels like it's safe, so he can't have stuff clipped off by hold position lurkers or stray groups of Zerg units to hit this. Oh, could he get that vessel? No.
Light is bringing up his tanks for the attack. Unfortunately, they bumped into each other on the ramp, and one of them went way back into the base. Very, very annoying. So the second tank is going to take a bit. And this is like, when you see this much Hydra Lurker, like you have to make sure your tanks are ready and you use them correctly. Because Marine Medic will never break through something that looks like this. You absolutely must lean on your siege tanks here.
Yeah, the tanks are going to come up now. Okay, he takes out one. Oh my god, he took out both.
Yeah.
But the Hydras actually sniped the other one. I mean, what are you going to do now? I mean, it's a wall of lurkers. There's not any way to kind of burst your way down through this. The Defiler mount is almost done. We see a Radiate's being thrown down here. The biggest mistake the Light made so far, honestly, was just not having those tanks stay alive.
Yeah. Well, that's crucial. That's like the main thing. If you want to break through, 3 tanks is perfect too. 3 tanks, 1 shot a lurker. So you just push through everything really quickly. But Jaedong picking those off really understands what he needs to do here. And he has slowed him enough. Consume will be done before Jaedong loses that third base. Like 100%.
He's going to trap the Wraiths.
Mm.
Oh! Remember, these glaives are going to bounce. They're connecting to the Wraiths in the back here. Oh my god, he's going to lose every single one.
Well, in the meantime, moving forward with those siege tanks as everything moved back to deal with the Wraiths, and he's killing off like a fair amount of these lurkers, but the mutas go behind and go after the siege tank, which is huge. Jaedong, though, out of position with a lot of these Hydras. Uh-oh, is he going to get broken here?
You know, I don't know that he had enough lurkers there. And, you know, Hydras alone, they're not great against Marines. He might have enough here, but generally speaking, you need to have lurkers with your Hydras if you're going to fight. Hydras, he's going to try to take him on here. You know, dude, he just might have enough, actually. This is kind of crazy.
Oh, man.
There just were never enough tanks. I feel like I'm in some kind of StarCraft Bizarro world here, where I'm seeing Hydras alone fight off Medic Marine, which is a comp that doesn't really make sense, but I guess the truth is the Hydra numbers are high enough, the Marine Medic numbers are low enough, and I think Jaedong's basically fended this off.
He certainly has. Light taking that third base, sitting back more defensively now. The game goes on, and we're going to get into a position from here with it, like as soon as Consume is done, the Zerg becomes very close to unkillable. Like either you really put the pedal to the metal or you try to get some sort of other tech that's going to help you. And in this particular case, against Hydra Lurker Defiler, probably we'll see him add some factories and go heavy siege tank, is my guess.
Yeah, the counter push is going to come in now. So in this game, we've seen Jaedong push the game out long enough that it's going to be his moment to try to come out here and move across the map to take more bases. And it's possible that Light could be just overwhelmed. I mean, if you get one Dark Swarm up over at the expansion where the third base is here for Light, it's going to be a really impossible game.
Oh, yeah. You got to keep him far back from that. I really want to see Light's base. Like, I imagine that he's going to go heavy tanks here. Sometimes people try to just lean on Marine Medic and outmaneuver, but it's incredibly hard if Zerg just plays a slow game. Hydra Lurker Defiler is crazy cost efficient. You can actually play even base against Terran with that and just kind of grind them down with Plague Dark Swarm over time.
Okay, so the dropship's going to come up here. Do we have anything to defend? I see a Scourge was on the move, but it's so far away. I think this is going to be unloaded before he can get up there.
He might... Oh, it prevents a couple units from coming out, but still 2 fire bats with a medic in there is very scary for this drone line. Oh my god. Jaedong has to run these drones. Oh, and Light doesn't quite control that correctly. Oh, is that a big drop going towards Light's base?
Yes, it is. By the way, the Dark Swarm is not going to be helpful versus the Fire Bats. The Fire Bats are still going to be doing damage here underneath this. And so, you know, suddenly you don't have that wall to protect you there. But Terran's pushing in. The drop in the main is going to be insane. I have no idea what way this game is going to go, Tastosis.
Well, I think Jaedong's drop is actually really, really good. I haven't seen any siege tanks for a bit. It feels like Light was leaning into Marine Medic to try to end the game quickly. Yeah, he's got like 1 tank, so that's going to be a problem. But Jaedong losing this base is huge. He has taken a base at 6 o'clock, but that's obviously not droned up or anything. Ooh, a Dark Swarm comes in as well, but you know what? If he makes a few fire bats, he can still clear this out.
Okay, he's going to come down, and, you know, I don't see any detection over here. I don't even know if Light's screen is over this fight right now. Both these guys have taken so much damage. It looks like the back base here for Light could end up going down. There's a lot of SCVs down there as well. The tank is going to try to push in here. This is such a chaotic game.
It truly is. It's hard to measure where they're both at right now. Jaedong losing this hatchery was pretty important. His supply is still high enough to play the game. He actually did a lot of damage over here in light space. He's killed a lot of buildings. He just killed a science facility, which is pretty huge. Light is having to remake an engineering bay at 17 minutes in the game. That's not common. And he's only on 1-1 upgrades against now 1-2 Hydras. So, like, if you have one more armor upgrade on the Hydras, you'd be surprised how much better they fight against Marines. Marines and medics. Like, that used to be how people try to counter Marine medic, is just getting additional carapace upgrades. But you add that in to having defilers, to having lurkers. A bio-only army, I don't think, is going to work for Light here.
This is such a weird-looking game. I mean, you almost never see Hydra Lurker really used that often anymore. But we're in a game like that right now. And by the way, the 4th base taken here for Terran. I don't have any SCVs over there yet that I can see. At the same time, could Jaedong maybe even go for a counterattack? Somehow there's a Lurker here. I don't know if that was a drop or he hit a Hydra and morphed an egg. But more SCVs have been killed.
Oh my god, look at this. He drops 2 lurkers that were sitting on the ramp. That was a cute idea, but Light was too quick, and he deals with that. So that base looks like it's going to go down. I don't think he can save that. But at the same time, the Hydras can just target down that command center. So both of them killing a base for each other. This is an insane game right now, Tasteless. Like, I would normally always say, like, Terran is ahead here. But again, Hydra Lurker Defiler is incredibly cost efficient. If you know how to grind with it, like, this is the hardest thing to kill as Terran. It's just like you never really end up breaking through, and it almost always turns into mass siege tanks and trying to just run them out of gas.
Well, Plague can be devastating here as well because the Hydras will just one-shot the Marines too. So it can be very, very hard to deal with. So we're going to see him come up again. Some Dark Swarms come down. Again, with no Fire Bats here, you can't do a whole lot. The Fire Bats are going to come forward, but, you know, well, hold on. He's going to get back under the Dark Swarm here. If he can kill off the Fire Bats before they get in there, he should be okay and be able to take advantage of that.
Yeah, I think it's actually really good against this if you're continuing to make bio to have a lot of Fire Bats in your army. But the thing is, as soon as they have a decent amount of lurkers, the Fire Bats just evaporate. So it's like very certain situations where you look at it and be like, oh, there's only 1 lurker in there. Okay. And then you send in your 5 Fire Bats and just wreck everything. But yeah, if Light doesn't switch us up, like I see a 2nd siege tank. Okay, I see a 3rd siege tank. But how many factories does he have? It's really normal against this type of composition to go 2 to 3 factory siege tank and just like really mass them up, because the Marine medic, as you see, have a hard time. It's hard to hit your irradiates correctly. Irradiating Hydralisks is worthless. In fact, it's a bad move most of the time because they'll just make it into an egg that doesn't take damage. So it's like,
that's one of the craziest things. You can, if a Hydra gets hit with irradiate, you just turn it into a lurker egg, and by the time the spell's worn off, the egg is still there, and then the lurker comes out. It's crazy.
Yeah, and not just that, that actually makes it so you can't chase down the army that you were fighting. You have to back up, because if you try to run past an irradiated lurker egg, it will kill your bio. I'm not even joking. Bio walking past irradiate kills it. So yeah, it gets very tough.
Crazy Plague hits there, and then you can see the Hydras just come in there. They do damage so fast. And if you let the medics heal, and then, you know, it's much easier said than done to stop them from healing here. I mean, they'll just drain the energy trying to heal a 1 HP Marine for a while here. It's super frustrating for the Terran.
Yeah. I think Jaedong is going to end up taking this game eventually. Like, it's still pretty contested and everything, but Light hasn't made any headway for a while. He has some dropships out, so it's like a pretty decent idea. His siege tank count is growing, but Jaedong has a lot of tools right now. Between Plague, Dark Swarm, just big armies, and the fact that he already has drops. Like, if Light starts pushing further and further on the map, Jaedong might just load up another big drop and go for the main base again.
Yeah, we have a small drop over here in the back. Still 3-base Terran versus 4-base Zerg here. A lot of siege tanks. I mean, if Light was going to make headway, this would probably be around the time it would happen here. I mean, there's so much. This egg over here is morphine. It's not going to be able to get out in time. I don't even know that Jaedong should be advancing here. He's going to throw one lurker under Dark Swarm, but there's enough. There's certainly enough radiates. He can just clear this out. He tries to take it out with fire bats and fails.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised he was moving forward there. I feel like he should have just played that defensively. Just the thing is, Jaedong doesn't get into these positions too often. This isn't really his style. This is more of like a Sulky thing. Like you put Sulky in charge of this type of army, and he will just be casting Plague like every, 15 seconds or so. You'll see a Plague go down. That's kind of how you get the high cost efficiency. Is you just Plague, and eventually your Hydras end up killing everything. But here, I don't know. Just watching Jaedong do it, he's not as good with this comp, I think.
Okay, he's going to try to come in again here. Do we have a Cloud coming down? I don't think he's going to get a Dark Swarm Cloud. Dude, is Light going to win this with this push? He's getting closer and closer here. We need to get a Defiler. He's going to consume another Zergling. You need a Dark Swarm, but you also need lurkers inside of that. Oh my god, a drop comes in here. Dude, is Light going to win this game? This is so crazy.
It's possible. It's possible. There's a lot of multitasking going on. As you can see, like, if Light was paying attention to just one area, he might be able to kill it. Like these drones, right? Like, if you micro those, you're going to kill every drone. Okay, he finally looks over here, and he is going to destroy the economy of this base, which is huge. Yeah, Light is pushing very, very well, but I don't know if he's going to be able to get through into the natural once again.
It's hard to say. Terrence pushing down here at 6 o'clock. Again, if he takes the space out, it's going to knock Zerg onto 3 bases. And I mean, we're 23 minutes into this game, so you know the 3 bases Zerg's had the whole time are going to be mining out, and that's going to be it. Wow, Oof. Light goes up 2-0 here in this best of 5.
Yeah, he is a tough opponent for any Zerg player. Like, this guy is just impossible to kill. He has so many units. He's doing so many things at once. And Jaedong has a tough one there. I think that game was winnable. Like, Jaedong did some great things in that game, but some of these drops that Light was getting off, the constant pressure forward, and you can see that Jaedong is not as comfortable with the Plague Grind type of game.
Yeah, Play Grind is a pretty tough style to play. It seems like he had moments he was able to do it, but he didn't know when to run away versus when to commit. There were a couple times he was like setting a few lurkers in to just die. Anyways, we'll expand on that idea in a second. Guys, short break, then we go to game 3.
I never thought that I would fall, but you came along and changed it all. So let me hold you like I meant to hold you. I'm not letting go. You're so steady, I feel safe already. I want you to know I'll never give up on you. I'm not ready to stop. I'll never give up on you. 'Cause you're everything that I want. We got it all. I can feel in my heart that I'm never losing you. I'll never give up on you.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for waiting. We're going to go into game number 3 here, and hopefully what is not the last game of the night. I think Jaedong's played very well, but the reality is he can't make any more mistakes. If he loses a single game now, he's gone.
Yeah, and he's someone that doesn't really fold under pressure, so I'm not too worried about the mentality of the situation getting to him. What I'm worried about is Light will continue to just pressure his weak points. You know, Light will certainly set up some sort of tech build for this map, unless he does, like, you know, you could do something like barracks supply, right? Like just an 8 barracks build and try to rush Jaedong at this point. That's fine to mix in when you're up 2-0. But Sylphid is a map where Mutilous Harassment is too strong for standard bio play. So you have to do either something really aggressive or you have to do something tech-based. So Jaedong might be able to use that to his advantage. You know, like I wouldn't mind seeing him try something like a pool first or, something aggressive. I think that wouldn't be expected because he might lose, right? Like he's on match point. So, well, why would you 9 pool when you're on match point? Well, that actually kind of can work in your favor when you think about it.
Yeah, you know, it's hard to say what exactly he needs to do better, I guess you could say. Like, Light is just a strong player that seems to be very good at wrestling down the Zerg and getting the game to a winning position. I mean, that was one where, you know, we saw the Hive Tech get up, we saw the Dark Swarm go down. I guess my biggest criticism of Jaedong would have been he didn't seem to know when to attack and when to run away with Hydra Lurker. Yeah. It seems like sometimes he was trying to force fights and force damage, and instead he was bleeding stuff off. I think he definitely had the right idea with the drop play. But I think you also made an excellent point, Artosis, in that Jaedong doesn't really crack under pressure. You know, some players, they do get tilted. I think about Mini a lot of times when, you know, a series is going well and then it's not. You can see him so frustrated. Yeah. Jaedong's pretty composed, pretty cool. And, you know, it makes sense. This is why he was, for a period of time, the best Zerg in the whole world. So I'm sure he can keep his focus here and try to do his best. But the reality is you have to beat Light 3 games in a row. And right now, Jaedong can't beat him 1 game in a row.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's true.
No, it's true. He can't beat him 1 game in a row.
Back to back. 3-0. He has to reverse sweep this.
Yeah.
If he's going to win, or he's out of the ASL. That's hard to imagine right now, just looking at how game 1 and game 2 went.
It's a tough one, but it would be even more impressive than like 3-0ing Light if he were to reverse sweep from here, because everything's deadly now. I think in the next 3 games, Light should do a complete all-in at least 1 time. You know, wouldn't you agree with that? That feels like a really smart way to approach it, is like one of these next 3 games, 2 barracks in the center of the map and just hope that you catch a hatchery first. And the thing is, Jaedong has to be thinking about that. And it's like, ooh, I can't necessarily go hatch first every game here. So I don't know, man. It's a very tough one.
Yeah, I mean, winning a best of 5, 3-2, and then winning a best of 5 after being down 0-2 and then going up 3-2 is very different. Yeah. You can have a best of 5 that's back and forth and you still get the final result, which is the 3-2. But reverse sweeps are the rarest of all results in tournament games, because generally one guy gets a lead because he is actually better and he should advance that day, and he carries it through to the end.
Yeah. And so far, that guy is Light. Light has been playing very, very well, his strong style. But I think a lot of this map is going to come down to the opener, because again, Sylphid, dude, you can't, like, if you do like a regular opener, a regular bio opener, mutas eat you on this map. So he's going to have to do some sort of tech, and that leaves an opening for Jaedong, knowing that that's likely.
Okay, let's get into it. One of the best maps ever made in the game. Sylphid is where game 3 is going to go down. Jaedong needs to 3-0 reverse sweep. Otherwise, Light is moving on to the round of 4. Okay, bottom left is Jaedong. Bottom right is Light.
Whew, all right. So, each spawn here, Tasteless, has different values for where the mutas can hit if we get to that type of stage. At the natural expansion of Light in the bottom right, the bottom 2 to 3 left patches are incredibly hard to block mutalist kits from. So when you spawn here, like, you're really thinking about doing something like a Valkyrie Rush.
Appreciate the signs in the audience, guys. You know, yeah, I'm glad you pointed out those patches. I'm not as familiar with that aspect of the matchup. But yeah, I mean, obviously it's a huge headache for Terran when you have these expansions where you know, the minerals face in a direction where the mutalisks can come in and pelt them with their glaives and do a bunch of damage to them. Super packed, by the way, in the Freak Up studio here. ASL has been extremely hot this year, not just with ticket sales, but also just people watching online. The numbers have been fantastic. I think in part because Flash is back, but also you had Jaedong playing as well as he is. We'll see if that ends in the next hour or two here if he's not able to recover. But again, an amazing season. So good to be back.
Indeed it is. It's been fantastic. And, like, I'm really hoping it doesn't end here. I would feel very, very sad if, like, Light just kills him. Like, imagine this, right? Like, we see Light is walling in and clearly going for a factory. That's pretty normal at that spot. If a Vulture just, like, gets in before the Sunken or something, I'm like, well, that's the worst thing ever. Like, what a terrible way to end this. So I'm hoping that Jaedong can just, like, stay strong here, block everything, and bring us into a Game 4.
Yeah, Game 4 would be very welcome. Light, by the way, is going into tech here. Jaedong did go for hatchery first. You know, we were a little bit worried. Maybe Light would go for a double racks in the center. You know, when you do get a lead in a series, this may sound a little bit weird, but stay with me. It makes it safer to do crazy cheeses and all-ins because you have more losses to cushion failed risky plays on.
Yes.
Right? Like, you know, you're up 2-0. Well, let's just try this crazy all-in strat where if they're not ready in the first minute or two, they just die. Well, you can do that because if you lose, you go, okay, we'll go back to a normal game. We don't have to try this.
Yeah.
But there's something about Light's playstyle. I never really expect him to do that.
Never.
He's very much like a, as you would say, Tastosis, an honorable Terran player.
Like, he's the blueprint for honor, Tasteless.
Yes. Yeah, he is like going to play a technical, proper game, a textbook game from start to finish. And he's not a guy who seems to really be someone who takes risks. I know that's been a criticism of him by some people, is he's not doing crazy stuff. Like, I think a lot of, like, the other players, even including Flash or Jaedong as an example, I think are better at using risky plays to kind of get free wins.
Yeah.
And to keep their main style play unpredictable. Dude, he's going to run right by. This is so funny.
What am I even looking at here?
I can't believe this. This is like, by the way, never supposed to happen, but it seems like Jaedong might have cut a corner or two here to just get the sunk up a little bit later. And so now, look, he kills it, right? But that's a lot of drone mining that is not going to be income here, where he had to use that to try to do some damage.
So, yeah, that was kind of wild. He is going starport behind this and his command center. Just one other quick thing about what you were saying there with Light not taking risks. I actually think that's why he just only has one ASL victory, is because, like, most of the champions, you look at them and it's like they take these calculated risks, and you know, it's good for tournaments. But hold on, he's trying to do the thing I didn't want him to do, but the block from Jaedong's so good. Oh, thank God. If one of those gets in, the game is probably over.
Yeah, you can micro a Vulture to where it just won't be hit by lings and drones. You have enough of a runway through that main that you can moving shot that forever. And yeah, that was crazy that he went for that, but that backfired entirely.
It did.
Now, you know, there's a point where you got to worry, you know, Light, he kind of fed in to his opponent. I mean, definitely throwing a little bit too much in there. Light, by the way, going to go for double starport today here. Leda just impacting our play everywhere this season of ASL, Artosis.
Yeah, it's a popular build right now. And he already showed that he's very good at it. One thing I want to mention, Jaedong hit an Overlord in the bottom right. You don't normally see that. I don't know if he'll find that, because one of the ways that you end up winning against Zerg with this type of build is you just kill the Overlords that are near you, so they have no detection to attack you with. But that Overlord being down there, Jaedong might be able to utilize that at some point, where his mutas come in and Light thinks Cloak will win.
This.
Yeah. So
yeah, sorry to run over you a little bit there, Artosis. That's so interesting. You're right. I mean, normally all the Overlords have been cleared, but there's this kind of weird spot in the bottom right under the base, and I guess he didn't check there. And yeah, if you get the mutas over here, you will just kill his Wraiths. Like, the Wraiths need... Oh, hold on.
He found it.
He spots it.
That's a good find. That's a very good find. But hold on. Jaedong's diving on that Wraith. He wants to keep this Overlord alive so badly. And the Wraith ends up dying, so that's a good kill, too. Like, just getting that Wraith is fantastic for Jaedong.
Doesn't manage to kill the Marines before they get in the bunker. I think that Light is extremely safe now.
Yeah, he should be pretty good. And you can see he's looking for these patches. Those missile turrets don't cover those patches well. There's been no maps since Silpha that have patches that look like that, by the way, because this has been a huge issue. But yeah, I think that's why they made the wallable main bases, so that Terran can actually tech on this map against Zerg easily. But yeah, Jaedong right now he's looking fine. Like, nothing's wrong. The Overlord thing didn't end up working out, but he got a Wraith off of it, so that's pretty good. Like, even killing an early Wraith can be nice. He's trying to do some harassment. He's taking a third base, and he's got a little bit of time, right? A build like this from Light, it takes a while to get your barracks down and get an actual push going.
So we've got mutas, or sorry, we've got Overlords is what I meant to say, moving out here with the Mutalisks. Again, got to be careful with those Wraiths. You don't want to let these get hit. Jaedong's done a very good job at controlling these. Actually, Light's done so well. He's like so perfectly out of range of the Overlords. It's crazy to me. He's getting so many free hits on this. Does Zerg want to go for like air armor or air attack or anything like that? Like, how does this develop, Artosis?
Well, you can play it all sorts of ways. Like, you can try to just win with mutas. Like, some people do that. They just keep making mutas and they bring a huge flock of Overlords with them. And sometimes you can overwhelm the turrets and the Wraiths. Considering you already killed a Wraith, maybe that's the way that he wants to go. Like, I think Carapace is generally a good idea because they can go Valkyrie when they're on two bases. It's pretty rare, but it can occur. I don't think Light's going to go for that. It looks like he's just setting up for a bio transition now. And Jaedong did end up getting attack.
Okay, attack upgrade here. Man, there's a lot of anti-air here. A lot of Scourge. He is going to basically do that the Ogre Zerg gamer meme we've done. Usually that's PvZ, but he's going to basically come in here and just try to clobber him. I don't know if this is going to work, man. There's so many turrets.
There's so many turrets here. The Wraith's going to come up and start to fight, but there's a lot of Scourge here to help out. So let's see if that ends up working. He goes after the missile turrets with these Mutalisks. The Scourge are trying to hit the Wraiths and not really able to do it. Light defends.
Incredible. I mean, Light looks like he's in a really good spot to close this game out right now. He's chasing out these Scourge. The Overlords, excuse me, are so high in number. It's hard to imagine that you're ever going to be able to rely on Cloak fully here. Mutalisks are going to just join back in the fray. He's just continuing to produce this, and I got to say, Light's matching him in the turret count.
Yeah, this is really smart. You have to remake the turrets if they're still making mutas, because the mutas will crush you otherwise. That's like how he won that, right? Is he just kept pulling back over the turrets a little bit more, keeping the Wraiths kind of out of range of everything, let the turrets get those extra hits. Jaedong now going to try the same thing, but at the natural, which only has a couple missile turrets.
Yeah, he's going to try to fight back as best he can. He does end up taking out the turrets here. The mutas can, those exact patches you were talking about, Artosis, he's doing so much damage. The SCV count is getting a little bit low. That's one thing to remember here. We saw a lot of SCVs killed in these attacks. The Terran is not that SCV rich anymore.
No, his worker count's really low. Jaedong's is low as well. He's droning up right now and trying to kind of fix his economy. But Light has lost a ton of workers out here. As you can see, it's just so hard to prevent damage over here. This is why I was saying he might want to go for a Valkyrie build here. Because even with the Wraiths, you can see that, like, these trades are actually good for Jaedong. Yeah, he's losing a few mutas here and there, but look at how many SCVs he's killed. Light's SCV count is terrible right now. It's terrible.
Yeah, and you make a good point. You know, and here's the thing. The turrets, they let the Terran live. You can't be killed by these mutas anymore. The Scourge are not able to dive on the Wraiths, but these are not the kind of assets that let you push either. So that's an interesting dynamic that's happening here, right? The Mutalisks are able to fight and be viable all game long. Right now, I mean, it's turrets paired with Wraiths. There's a small number of infantry on the ground, but certainly not enough to push out and fight.
Yeah, he's standing in the mineral line now. He's just trying to stem the damage that's coming in from Jaedong, who continues to produce more Mutalisks. I'll be really interested to see if he has an additional upgrade finish soon. But it does look like Science Vessels are going to be on the way for Light. So once he has a Radiate out, the Mutalisk threat should go away. But Jaedong is getting ready for a transition here. He's made a Queen's Nest, so probably going to go up to Hive. Honestly, Ensnare is really good against this as well, but I think he'll probably just go to Hive and play a normal game from there.
Oh my god, Light is so good, and there's nothing with these Mutalisks. Oh my god. I mean, Terran is just unleashed on the map. The Overlord distribution. Oh, I don't know what happened. It's like the Overlords were somewhere else where the Mutalisks were not. They both ended up failing in their encounters with the force that's moving out here from Light because they didn't pair together at the time. He's going to move across again, but I don't think there's going to be enough to really fight here for Zerg.
Well, the Bioforce is pretty small. So he doesn't just making like a bunch of units off of all of his hatcheries might allow him to hold on here. He is adding a sunken colony at that third base. The Wraith count. Ooh, he actually only irradiates one of the top ones. So Jaedong gets it off really quickly. Doesn't take too much splash damage, but this is still highly dangerous.
I mean, Terran is just shredding Jaedong up. I've lost count of how much stuff Jaedong's lost since the Terran left his base. I mean, the kill count's been insane, and really Terran's kept pretty much everything else alive.
I still don't think he's going to kill a base, though. Like, he's dealing damage to Jaedong, but Jaedong has good supply. Like, he doesn't have that many mutas left over, which sometimes inflate your supply. I think he actually has a very good amount of Lurker Hydra Ling right now. And in fact, you can see he's moving out. Oh my god, look at this surround that he does to Light's army.
Kind of funny how the Lurkers were placed. Probably a very confusing moment for Light. That was like several screen sizes of Lurker potholes in such an unusual layout that I'm not sure he really knew how or where to engage. So Jaedong does get that monkey off his back. Light has been driven back out. Light is going to try to reorient here. I thought for a second there might be a double dropship, but there's not actually coming in here.
Oh man, that would be huge if he had two dropships right now.
Yeah.
If he could get a drop into that main base. Like, they're both kind of low on supply here still. You can see Jaedong is up above Light, which is always very, very scary. But Light's composition is strong. If you have some siege tanks, some science vessels, marine medic, pre-Hive, that is one of the best armies you can get. Oh, he catches a vessel. That's huge.
Wow, dude, this is really big. If he can possibly... So the Defiler mound is done. And now he's going to have... he's going to have Consume Making there. We know 100% that's almost done. So then what's going to happen is he can probably try to throw down some Dark Swarms outside the second base for Terran. This is going to be really scary here. Losing the first vessel, and by the way, we see the second one's out. It just is now moving across our screen. That's less irradiates for the entire game.
Mm-hmm.
It's possible that vessel is more easily targeted as well. So there are moments here that Jaedong could certainly create for himself that could give him opportunities later on.
The irradiates like compound over time. It's if you have a vessel that has been irradiating all game long, the amount of pressure that's putting on is gigantic. Like the very first vessel, when you think about it, it gets an irradiate off, and then like basically before the next vessel is ready to even do one. So it's like the amount of lurkers he's not going to kill because of losing that is gigantic. But it looks like it might turn into like a Lurker Hydra Defiler once again, which we saw Jaedong play before. That's a pretty popular composition on this map. But we'll see if Light is going to just stay on bio, if he's going to go heavier into siege tanks. It's hard to say, right? There's like a big range of how Light might want to try to play this, whether he's super aggressive and goes like drop ships, or he wants to slow the game down with siege tanks.
So far, Light does not have a third base. You're not really pressed to get one right away. This is a matchup where like Terran can kind of wait it out, especially the way this game started out and where it's at finally. But we want to be watching for that, because eventually the natural and the main are going to mine out. They'll be mining out at a later moment because so many workers were killed. Hold on. We got a push coming in here. Oh, big dark swarms coming down here. Terran on the run. Another vessel goes down.
Big kill right there. This is looking pretty good for Jaedong at the moment, I think. Like, he's got his units in the middle of the map. He's got to do good zoning on these science vessels, though. Like, he's already killed 2, so that's fantastic. But we saw in his previous game on Jane Doe that their radiates were still hitting non-Hydra targets. You really want to zone them out. The Hydras should be at the front. They should be in front of your Lurkers and your Defilers. And just like we just saw right there, you have to zone that stuff out, and you have to plague grind. You plague the vessels, you plague the Marines and Medics, you plague the siege tanks. Literally anything you can hit, you want to plague.
Okay, he's continuing to just chip away at these bases. Such a tight game. Zerg on 3 base. Terran still on 2. There's the double dropship I thought might have come a little bit earlier. And, you know, this is especially strong. You can escort these across the map and basically hit the main. And the main is a huge weak point. And this is more so in these positions on this map than your standard map. Now, he's kind of right-clicked through there, and I don't know. Okay, whoa, good reactions. But Jaedong's kind of ready for it. This unload isn't as clean as you'd think it would be, but he does get it out. It is a medicless drop. A lot of times you see a medicless drop just because they're trying to load whatever they've got at the time. And he's going to be trying to burst this down, but at the same time, he's not getting that much done with it. Zerg's sending enough back over here to basically deal.
Yeah, it seems like Jaedong has kind of slowed the push on both fronts, which is really nice. He does get a good irradiate down on that Defiler. But Jaedong is kind of like, it looks to me like he understands all the different plans that Light has here. Leaving that little group in the main base to slow the drop was fantastic. It gave him time to react. He has a unit that's kind of zoning out the top leftish area, or a set of units rather. And Light tried to push there, and that didn't work. And now Jaedong is double expanding while Light is trying to get his third up. So there is a lot of whack-a-mole that Light has to play from here. He has to stop 12 o'clock. That is the #1 thing. If 12 o'clock gets up, I don't see how he could win this game.
Yeah, I think getting 12 o'clock, it's going to be another location that's too out of reach for Terran to try to push into. Like so many other matchups on Sylphid, this one is no exception, where the other main is so important a lot of times. And if one player can get it, oh my God, he takes out all the Wraiths. Now, I think Light's going to get a deny on here, so this game is going to go on.
And he's even moving his army up as well to kind of put some additional pressure on to slow any reaction to 12 o'clock being attacked. So I think he's eliminated 12, which is really good for Light, but not deadly for Jaedong. Jaedong's still okay. He's going to get that mineral base up. And mineral bases actually are worthwhile with this composition, especially if you go triple evolution chamber. A few Zergs have been adding Lings into this composition, although I don't see Jaedong doing that this game. But Hydras are very gas light, so you can make a lot of them, but you have to remember to be hitting your plagues. If you are not plaguing the armies, the Hydras can lose to Marine Medic over time.
Yeah, and if you can plague them and just get in there with those Hydras before they're able to move out, I mean, it's crazy the damage you can do. He's going to slip through the side here. Oh, hold on. There's actually more tanks than I realized. He can at least deny the 4th base if he were to take it to the top right. Light is honestly playing a really strong game. Okay, here we go. He's going to send this in. He needs to bro this, and he doesn't get it broed because that hero fire bat under there. Blast that down. Had that gotten up there, you would have had to send an irradiate back there to try to fight it that way. Is he going to try to plague this?
Yeah, well, he's already plagued a couple of the vessels in there, I think. So Light is playing very carefully with these, but they might just die at some point. I feel like Jaedong's playing a much better looking game here. He's keeping those Hydras in front a bit more. He's taking less irradiates, which is incredibly important. Light, though, his multitasking is on point, getting a drop-off in the natural during all this, but also gets a plague off on that army.
Honestly, Light's been playing so well. I mean, the fact that he just slipped it on this side here, too. He's going to try to drop again into the main. Really keeping the Zerg occupied. And by the way, the Zerg is not that big. The Zerg is barely on 4 bases. And one of the bases is a mineral only right over here. Drones just now being transferred. Obviously, gas base is going to be so much more valuable to have. Nice snipe here on these vessels.
And he's going to kill all of them. That's a huge moment. Also, not just from the vessels, but look at the supply overall. Hydra, Lurker, Defiler being up in supply. Like, Zerg being up in supply at all is so scary. The only time that Terran generally wins against an higher supply Zerg is when the Zerg is, like, all in on mutilating. And that's not the case here. This is, like, a cost-efficient composition. Now, Jaedong comes out here, getting some plagues, throwing down some Dark Swarms. Huge amount of Hydras coming around. But he does need to hit a few more plagues before he attacks this army straight up.
He's going to try to push down now. A little bit of, I don't know, it seems like some, well, God, he's going to get another vessel. This is so insane, dude. He's gotten so many vessels. Yeah, you know, if he gets a little bit more grouped together here and coordinated, I think he can actually hit this. There are no longer that many irradiates available. I think we've had 6 or more vessels get killed off, possibly even more than that. And now he's going to try to push down here.
Yeah, and Light has to back up from this. Some great plagues going down. If he just keeps hitting these plagues, man, that's really the key to this strategy, is plaguing over and over and over and just whittling your opponent down. Especially when you're playing like Light. Like, Light's being really active with his Marine Medic Firebat. I don't know how many factories he has. Like, we haven't really looked back to see how many siege tanks there are, because it's so different if you have 2 or 3 factories compared to just 1 producing. 1 producing is purely defensive. You have 2 or 3. Eventually, you're going to bring 12 siege tanks to the middle of the map and try to push down bases properly.
Right. Nidus canals are coming up over here at the top of the map. Jaedong's getting huge. Now, there are some bases that are going to be hard for Zerg to ever really take. Any of these bases that are in the middle that we see oftentimes taken, like by Terran as an example, like the one that Terran has. Zerg have a hard time holding that because they're so pushable. Bottom left could go to either side, but it's also, again, hard for Zerg to really get down there and take that. But, you know, right now, Zerg's on enough bases that they're going to last a really long time in this game. And Terran, you know, there's so many locations to push out into, I don't know that they can do it.
Yeah, this is getting pretty bad for Light at this point. With 4 bases, that's fantastic. I think he might be adding factories down at his mineral-only base. Because eventually you look at what you're doing, you're like, oh, I'm actually getting pushed back. Like, he used to be further up in the map with his Marine Medic Science Vessel, and he's, like, way back at his bases now. Which means that Jaedong is only about 3 Dark Storms off a win in this game. But you can see, okay, he is adding another factory there, so that's good. Hopefully he has an armory somewhere getting those tank upgrades as well. Like, there's just, it's so hard to win a prolonged game against this composition without switching up your tech a bit.
Another drop's going to come across the map here. Light going to finally be driven away as some of these lurkers are able to burrow underground. We could be here for a lot longer, by the way. There's nothing that says this game has to end right away. Another drop's going to come in, and I think basically Jaedong is permanently ready for this.
Yeah.
I think he's so keenly aware that, like, this is one of the only disadvantages he can have here is the possibility that his main can get dropped, that he basically just has units never hotkeyed sitting over there waiting. Oh, beautiful plague.
Such a good plague. By the way, Light is macroing like a god here as well. Jaedong, of course, we see how many units he has out on the map, but like, Light is always having more units than I think in the middle of the map. I'm like, how does he have this many Marines and Medics still with how much has died? How does he have this many vessels when I've seen like 10 vessels die this game? But he is holding tough. He's trying to push forward. You can see the siege tank spread is making it a little bit harder to push into, but it's not that many siege tanks.
Yeah, you know what? Jaedong's doing it. He's basically broken the army in the middle. It just Ling Hydra now can spill across the map. Both the 3rd and the 4th base are extremely exposed. This is a real opportunity. I think Jaedong needs to act quickly. He's got the Ultralisk Cavern. He can definitely get those. I don't know that he even needs to wait for that, but I guess he is, because Terran's going to push out once more. Dark Swarms are ready. It's a very lurker-like composition, but you know, when the Ultralisks come into play, and there are currently 5 geysers just drinking in Vespian gas for Zerg. So, I mean, 4 is when you really have enough to get Ultras out and throw your weight around. 5 is massive. And from there, you know, you know, the whole dynamic of the matchup changes. When you have the Ultralisks as well as the Adrenal Zerglings ready to go, suddenly the Zerg can just flatten Terran positions in a way where Stim is no longer scary like it was before.
Having the additional gases allows you to go both Defilers and Ultralisks, and those are units that make you play completely differently. Against Ultras, you need a huge clump of units. Against Defilers, you need your units spread. So when you get them together, Bio's dead. This is the finishing move from Jaedong, is getting Ultralisk upgrades. When he has all of his Carapace upgrades done and Ultralisk speed done, he's just going to kill Light. There's not going to be anything Light can do.
It's almost like when Protoss have enough carriers.
Yeah.
Like, it kind of doesn't really matter what the Terran does. I mean, there are obviously games we see Terran fight back against that, but when you get an overwhelming amount, same thing with Ultralisks, where there's just so many of them. And you know, one thing about Ultralisks, you can irradiate them, but like, they will just barrel into your army and kill a lot of your Marines faster. Doesn't mean it's not worth it to do it every once in a while, but usually you want to do it when you're far away from a fight. And I think at this point in time, he's going to have enough to just kind of overpower this. Oh my God, he's going to come in here and drop. There's more Hydras ready to go.
Oh man, Jaedong is just so on top of everything. These drops not going to end up working. Drops like lose power anyways against Ultralisks. And look at this, he comes in, surrounds everything. We might be seeing Light GG without a final battle. Like, this is just not winnable anymore. He is super dead.
Jaedong here at almost a 27-minute marker, basically winning with that late game style, zoning Light out of any opportunity here as he went toe-to-toe with him. By the way, in an extremely unusual early game. Committed, you know, air forces on both sides. That's going to be a GG. He sees the Ultras coming in. He knows the writing's on the wall. Light loses his first game in what has been our most epic game of the night.
Yeah, that was a pretty sick game on both sides. Really well played by Jaedong. He really got the game into a nice position for himself. I think he did a great job reducing the SCV count while keeping his economy strong. And then holding that push that Light brought out, it was kind of weak because he had lost so many SCVs. But really expertly done by Jaedong. Great understanding of what he needed to do. I am a little bit surprised that Light went Wraith there as opposed to Valkyrie. But Zergs have been getting so good against Valkyrie, he might have seen in his own practice that Wraith is doing a bit better for him. But I don't know if he's going to continue that onwards into Polestar and Octagon, our last 2 maps.
Okay, the comeback has started. Can Jaedong keep it going? We're going to go to the map Polestar after this short break. We're back, everyone. Thank you for your patience. What a great series this has been so far. Jaedong definitely showing he's able to go toe-to-toe with Light there in the end game. It did seem like, again, Light's so scary in this early game. I'm not used to seeing him go for Wraiths all the time, but apparently he's just god tier at this too. But yeah, you know, it's that early game that's going to be the hard part for him.
Yeah, he's not quite as good as Wraith Flaming Skull at it, but
that's right.
He is quite good at Wraiths for sure. I think he's like a top 3 or 4 Wraith guy with Bishop and Leda. So we're gonna go to Polestar for the 4th set. And yeah, I mean, this is a pretty standard map. You can really do anything here.
This is going to be a fun one. Polestar here going on to a 4-player map could be better for the early mid game here for Jaedong. You know, going to have a lot more ways to try to take that 3rd base. Let's get into it. Okay, Light in the top right, Jaedong in the top left. And I'm just so excited. I hope we get a game 5, man. I mean, that would be so crazy if we could start to see the beginning of the reverse sweep. But again, Light is so strong. I mean, that last game was no exception. I honestly thought Jaedong was going to have to tap out once Light started pushing across the map. He got so many kills on the Mutas and the Scourge and everything else. Overlords.
Yeah, he was very, very good with the race. I think it really came down to how many SCVs Jaedong was able to kill there. I think that was a really well thought out way to play it, because Light just couldn't field a big enough army.
A lot of foreign fans here.
That's awesome to see.
A lot of people excited about this match, man. I can't say I blame them.
Yeah, yeah. By the way, 8 racks here. In the wall.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a pretty heavy pressure build, and he is close spawns. So this is really, really good for Light if Jaedong goes hatchery first. But the thing is, if you execute perfectly as Zerg, you will block this and probably be just slightly ahead if Terran executes well. It's just, it comes down so much to understanding and like microing correctly and taking it seriously. Sometimes you don't, like, you got to basically pull 8 drones. And you gotta just keep everything back far enough and don't let them get their bunker going before 3 minutes. That's like gonna be the main thing here for Jaedong.
Yeah, in these spawns, just the way this map is shaped, it is a very short travel distance. If you're both sharing like the top or the left or the right or the bottom. So you can get across the map pretty quickly. A lot of other maps that we've seen, they kind of force you through the middle. This is a new thing, you know, stylistically. I think they're trying to bring back into maps is a sense of proximity.
Well, here, Light, I've never seen someone do the 8 racks and only scout with 1 SCV. But he does that, and he sees that it is close spawns. 2nd SCV coming, 2 Marines coming. And
I think he saw the Overlord when he was leaving. I think that
he might have.
This was here.
Yeah,
so,
I think you're probably right. Yeah, that makes sense.
So he's going to come across now. Again, this is a very, very short travel distance. So, you know, you got to be careful. One thing I've noticed with a couple of these newer maps is they are really, I think, trying to bring back a little bit more aggression and rushes here. Oh my God, Light's control is great. Oh my God, drones are kind of bumping. He takes out 2. Now, I don't know what the number is, Tastosis, but how many drones can you actually afford to lose here?
2. That's about it. So he's at his limit for what you want to end up losing.
The bunker.
I'm surprised he only brought that many drones, but he actually controlled it so well. The fact that he only lost 2 drones out of like 5 going after 2 Marines and an SCV, that was actually a really good hold. And looking at these positions, I would call this about even.
Yeah. So that moment he has the bunker started over there, the idea is you're trying to force more drones to come down and fight, but I think he realized he would not be able to hold that bunker, and it would have been an overextension. So he takes the SCV off and then cancels it. It's a funny thing where, like, if you play on ladder and someone does that to you, they might end up getting the bunker up and winning, but, you know, these guys know the ins and outs of exactly how to handle each part of this. It's extremely technical. And so you have to generate that threat. Then he does pull that out at the last second. Back at home for Terran, he's going to go for the gas. Zerg's going to go for a third hatchery inside the main.
Yeah, and Light didn't make another depot. That's really kind of... I'm surprised at the way that he's played this. I study how to 8 racks from Light specifically, and okay, there is another depot there, but that's like a little bit late, so he's going to eat a supply block, but he's trying to go for a very fast +1 here. So Light is going to get into one of the pressure builds that hurts Jaedong the most. +1 4 racks builds are like Jaedong's bane, or they have been in the modern era. He has such a hard time holding a third base against these, especially against a player like Light.
Okay, he's going to be back, and it's going to be a little bit of a quiet game from the Terran. He's going to need to tech up, as will the Zerg have to. And when you go for 3 hatchery all on one base, I mean, you're going to have a lot of production. You're going to be ready to kind of take fights on the map. This is different than if we saw Jaedong throw a hatchery somewhere else on the map. Now, remember, we talked a lot before this whole series even started about how Jaedong does seem to be weak versus someone like Light while on the layer tech.
Yeah.
Before the hive is done, and eventually that defiler mound and the consume upgrade are coming along here. So we want to keep in mind, a lot of that part of the game is also about securing your third base. And on this map, there's a lot of third bases that can be taken. So we want to watch very carefully when we get to that point in time here. Terran's going to have a lot of pressure to put onto the Zerg, but Zerg is going to have a lot of different places to try to hide a base. You could go to the bottom left main, the bottom right main. You could go to 6 o'clock. You could go to the natural. We've seen that with some players, including from Sulky and Soma, where they go for these counterintuitive third bases where you're not going to scan as quickly and you're going to have to rely on Marines to scout. But for now, it's going to be, Zerg and Terran basically powering up. Lots of Lings, lots of mutas coming up.
By the way, pretty big deal that Light got in there with the SCV. He got a full scout, and what that does is it allows him to push back his comm stats. You can see he only has 1 comm stat finishing about now, and the other one hasn't even started. So, he was able to greed up a little bit extra, make a few more SCVs here. I'll be honest, looking at this, I feel like this is Light favored right now. He is nailing a 5 racks +1 after an 8 racks that was about even. The mutas are not particularly fast. Jaedong has a very good drone count. He has a good hatchery count. So he's definitely not out of this. But like we've been talking about, this is Jaedong's weakness. This build, more than any other, is what he struggles with.
Okay, so couple subtle things. He made his creep colony. He killed the SCV. He canceled the creep colony because basically that way you get to have an extra drone mining. Light scans to confirm it's a bluff, sees it is in fact a bluff and that there's not that much there. This may make him move out across the map a little bit sooner. There's also the hatchery at the bottom left, the one we were talking about that we want to watch for where he goes. He went for the most standard location possible, the bottom left main. That's the furthest location for Terran to push, but it's also the place Terran's most likely to check first.
Well, I think it's going to go well for him because he needs it to be as far away as possible. He just needs the extra time. He already started his Hydralisk Den as the mutas were hatching, so that's a pretty quick Hydralisk Den. And this comes down to Jaedong stalling. If he can stall with these mutas until he has lurkers out defending his third base, then he's in good shape. That's really, that's just about everything that this game is for Jaedong right now. It's not that he wins if he gets there, it's that he loses if he doesn't.
Yeah. And the Hive Tech is going to be very fast. So we're talking about a 3-base Hive Tech here. About as quick as humanly possible. And it could be even one where he's going to rush into having Dark Swarm into the natural or right outside the front here. Jaedong's done a great job of keeping the mutas alive, not really taking a lot of damage on them, generating a lot of threats. I think Light is one of the best in the whole world at kind of moving control groups of Marines around. It almost looks like it's the StarCraft 2 engine when he's doing it in StarCraft 1 for how clean they move. Anybody who's tried to move Marine medic around in a game against someone who's good knows it's not actually a very smooth procedure. He's got Lings in the back, ready to intercept any reinforcements. Light has to be very, very methodical about how much he brings out and when. Any stray units are going to be picked off. Now Light's right up here outside the entrance. Does he have enough?
This is scary. It's really close. With Jaedong's army coming back, it's really close. Light's waiting for his reinforcement. It might have been better if he had already gone, because now the third Sunken's ready. The Lings actually slowed this down. I think Jaedong will barely hold this.
Yeah, he's got one lurker out here. The Lings are going to come in here from behind. The Muta's doing their work, doing a decent amount of damage. They need to pull out, so it's going to be a targeting reset here. 2 lurkers make that, I think, impossible to get into. The Hive is almost done. There is no tank with this push. There's no way to push in a conventional sense into this base. You're not able to take advantage of artillery shots and chip away at this over time. And bursting through this with Stim doesn't seem like it's going to be possible, just because of the position of the lurkers, the fact that we have a creep colony, soon to be a sunken colony in the front.
Yeah, the mutas staying there is really smart from Jaedong, because if I saw those mutas pop up at my base, I'd go. It's like 2 lurkers, 2 sunkens. You might be able to do it if you have a really nice spread there. But the mutas stayed around until more lurkers came out. These guys are both really on point right now. Just the fact that he didn't go anywhere with those mutas is huge. Now Light is rotating to the bottom. Those lurkers are really well placed. That doesn't mean he won't try to bust it. If he can get a stim up and get a few Marines behind them, he might be able to break that position.
Okay, so this is 3 lurkers, right?
I believe it's 2, but if it's 3, that's really good.
I think it's,
you're right.
It's 3. Okay, so he actually stacks it to look like 2. So you should not be able to get up here. Yeah. God, he's so
good
smart.
Call, Tasteless.
So you can put lurkers literally on top of each other.
Yeah.
So it looks like the same little pothole. The same little black circle you see. And so what he did is he spaced 1 out, because 2, you can. It's going to be pretty messy, but you can break that.
Yeah.
But he basically tried to bait him in there. So, I mean, the mind games going on here are insane.
Yeah, that was... Every defensive move from Jaedong has been exact. The third lurker, like I mentioned, I looked at that, I'm like, I don't know if he stacked. Like, you can break that if it's 2. 3, you can't. Keeping the mutas at home till he got a third lurker at his natural... Huge, because otherwise, like, Light was pre-spread. He wanted to go in. He wanted those mutas to show up and harass his main base or something like that. But Jaedong is defending everything superbly. But now Light is getting into the spot where he might be the best in the world. Just straight up bioplay with Marines, medics, science vessels. Like, we've said this for years. He's as good as Flash at this. Like, they are just another level at playing this type of composition. The multitasking, the macro, the IQ to go to the right places. This is going to be hard for Jaedong, but he's got his defilers out, so he might be able to do it.
Okay, going to clear the Overlord here on the map. Terran is finally getting the 3rd base. The 4th base is probably just around the corner here as well. We're entering the phase where Consume should be almost done. In other words, Zerg's gotten to... Okay, there it is. So we're now in the late game. And this is, Terran, I thought, did a pretty impressive job about almost coming in here and killing Zerg off. But Zerg had survived it. And now we go into this totally different looking phase where Terran doesn't have the might or the muscle that they have earlier on.
Wow. This is very exciting. The 4th base is going up for Light. I think he's just going to stay on the Marine Medic Science Vessel, SK Terran as we call it. For this game, I don't think there will be a mech transition. I guess once we confirm that he gets a +2 upgrade, that's kind of how you can tell that there won't be. Right. But can Jaedong, like, juggle all these positions? Right? Because he's got to basically stop drops, pick off vessels, like, make sure that whatever's getting irradiate is getting replaced. Look at that. He irradiates a Scourge. When you see that move, like, you got to be wary. And look at this. Oh my god, he irradiates the Scourge and then goes after the mutas and gets a Defiler with it. Really interesting. And battle cruisers are going to come in. Oh, I love it.
Very cool. So the battle cruisers are an interesting endgame unit, and they don't operate the same way that, like, let's say Ultralisks or carriers would. But what they do is they make the game much, much more of a headache here for the Zerg. In some ways, a battle cruiser, it's almost like an annoying, like, dark swarmed area, or lurkers on a ramp. Battle cruisers, first of all, you're not really making a lot of Hydras, right? So the battle cruisers, they can one-shot Scourge. They're tanky enough in general. They're kind of hard to fight off, but you can send them to different positions on the map, and the Zerg have to invest a lot of their gas into taking them out, which is really annoying.
Yeah, they one-shot Scourge. As long as you have a +1 upgrade, it doesn't matter how much armor the Scourge has. They'll one-shot, so it's hard to kill them with Scourge. They're really good for harassment. They're really good for paving a way for drop ships. If you keep them alive long enough, Yamato is really strong. It one-shots, you know, most Zerg units, not Ultras. But, like, it's very, very useful. So the BC's, it's a great tech switch. The fact that he's going 3-port BC, the fact that he has 4 gases right now. And I love looking at the map, the way Light is playing. He's playing exactly how he teaches people to play. Like, he's spreading out his Marines and Medics, he's rotating back and forth, but Jaedong is clearing all the small areas. Like, all the little groups of Marines and Medics left out in the map to slow him down, he's cleaning those, and Light has to replenish that.
Yeah, this one Firebat with the D-Matrix on it, it's going to be hard to kill, but he is eventually going to take that out. So it's 4 base to 4 base. Jaedong's done a pretty impressive job here, just sending Lings out, doing harass where he can, but this phase of the game, a lot of times Terran can contain the Zerg for a while.
Yeah, you definitely have map control here, and if you lose map control at this stage of the game is going to Zerg. So he has to maintain that. He can't let Jaedong just run around. Like, you can see, 3 Lings shut down that base for over a minute, right? That is problematic. You cannot be letting that happen, which is why you're supposed to kind of have groups of Marines and Medics all over the place. But with 4 gases now, Jaedong is getting into that Ultralisk Defiler, and we talked about this before. They force Terran to do 2 different things that they can't do. You have to have a ton of Marines clumped up to fight Ultras, but you have to have your Marines spread out to fight Defilers. So Jaedong is getting into a position where I think it becomes a victory for him really quickly.
I think Jaedong's in a pretty good spot. He's going to get these defenses up here. It's going to be hard to get through here. Now we're going to get to see what we were talking about with the battle cruisers. Again, they one-shot stuff. You can go after the Defiler with that. It's super annoying. And you can see immediately those 2 Scourge wiped out. Mutas can fight this, but, like, it's a commitment, man.
Yeah, Mutas are actually surprisingly, like, okay against them. They don't really kill Mutas that fast. And, in fact, this is a really good cleanup. That's too bad, because he was actually getting up towards Yamato energy.
I don't think he should have had these down this far here. I think he probably should have tried to stay up close to where his army was. The moment he tried to send those in, it's just not going to work. He can send more battle cruisers in over here, but, you know, if you had like 4 there instead of 2, I mean, you could be doing a lot more with that. The Ultras can fight, but what you need to really make sure you have is, like, at least a dozen Lings or more with that. The difference between having, like, let's say 6 Ultras and 6 Ultras with 12 Zerglings is crazy. Because any of those Lings that are going to soak up even shots for a second or 2 from Marines are huge.
Wow. I am so excited to see Jaedong actually eventually break out here. His Ultralisk count is growing hugely. Like, he has a lot of Ultras right now. And as those Carapace upgrades are finishing, him coming out with Ultra Defiler, wherever that appears, is dead. Like, you throw a Dark Storm down with... Ultras are hard enough to kill alone. You put them under Dark Storm, it's laughable. Like, there's just nothing you can do. You just have to back up. That's it. So, Jaedong, like, he's going to be looking to take over map control really soon here. And Light can't let it happen.
Yeah. Now, the Ultralisk count is going to be really scary here. He's going to have a lot more, and Terran may have to go all the way back and try to defend, like, at his ramp and at his 3rd base here. Scourge are moving out in these waves here, and I don't know if these vessels are going to be safe. He's going to continue to come through here. Again, there's no real way to easily defend these. The Scourge are slowly catching up. Oh, my God. Did he get... Dude, he literally got every single one. Are you kidding me?
You can't... Like, the Ultras have attack priority, so it's so hard to keep vessels alive with Marine Medic against... Scourge Ultra.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, you have to target every single Scourge, and when they're big clouds like that and you're fighting Ultra, it's not too realistic. And so Jaedong just wiped everything. He's up 60 supply. He's got the ultimate late game tech, and he's taking a 5th base. And this is before 22, 23 minutes. 23 minutes is where the main and natural are both going to be empty on gas. Probably the main is already empty or going to be empty in the next 2 minutes, and the natural is going to empty out right after that. So like that 5th base is early. It's even earlier than you need. Jaedong is in such good shape.
This is insane, man. He's going to come down here again. I mean, again, we just saw the vessels get wiped out. And you have to remember, a big part of winning any of these games is to accumulate so many vessels that you have an endless amount of irradiates. I think we're going to see this whole position get loosened, both at the 3rd and the 4th. There's the Ultras and Links getting into the natural doing a ton of damage. Somehow the 4th seems to be faring the best out of all of this. But the SCVs, no matter where you lose them, these are the guys that are mining these minerals, man. Like, he's getting further and further behind economically. And until these Ultras and Lings are cleaned up over here, that 4th base could be hit again.
Yeah, this is where Jaedong is just going to pummel him. He's sending out groups all over the place. Light has had to retract to his side of the map. And, I mean, every Terran player knows that they're dead at this point. He's staying in the game for whatever reason. I guess because he still has units. But this is not a position that any strong Zerg will ever lose from. He's going to knock out every base one in a row.
This is him playing through the mid game, getting to the end game where he's at the advantage, and then pressing that advantage. And Light takes his hands off the keyboard and mouse. GG scratches his head, and dude, Jaedong did it. He's one game away from the reverse sweep. I cannot believe I'm seeing this. You could see the intensity on Jaedong's face. If he wins this, that's it. It's going to be just one more game, the final game in the best of 5, to decide who moves on into the round of 4.
Crazy. This comeback from Jaedong is looking fantastic. He's stopped Light basically doing the build that always killed Jaedong before, and he did it so well. The 3 lurkers, the mutas staying, he held exactly. Like, Light was very close to busting him in that mid game, and it didn't happen. Jaedong is on fire right now. The tempo advantage goes to him, having won these last 2 games. You could see Light was a bit frustrated there. He opened with an 8 racks, got a couple drones. You know, he got into the build he wanted to do, and he still lost. So we're going to go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to decide this on Octagon.
Oh, guys, it just gets better and better. I can't believe we actually got the start of the reverse comeback here. Can we get the finish? Either way, I think we could be happy with whoever moves on. I mean, it's just crazy. I was so worried this was going to be a 3-0. I'm so glad we're extracting as much value out of this best of 5 as possible.
Yeah, that's fantastic to see. I really have no idea which way this is going to go. Octagon is a pretty standard 4-player map. Yeah, I have no idea how they're going to open or anything. I don't think there's going to be anything ultimately cheesy. I think it's just there's too much on the line here, and we're going to have pretty standard openers if I had to guess.
I love it. All right, Jaedong down 2-0, then comes back with 2 wins. We're tied up. Could be anybody who moves on here. Clearly, these guys are very, very evenly matched. Let's decide it now on the map Octagon. Okay, Jaedong here in the top left, Light in the bottom right, cross spawns on Octagon as we go into the final game of the evening. Quick plug, guys, just if you want to support us in what we're doing here and keeping the history of this game alive, consider signing up for our Patreon. Patreon.com/ASL England.
Yes, thank you everyone who has signed up over the years. We really appreciate it. Thank you for helping to keep the beautiful game alive. It's not chess. It's StarCraft.
Yes, I love this game. And it's just so great that it continues to develop and change, and we get new fans all the time. We got a lot of young people who are getting into StarCraft now and watching ASL. There's a lot of great new games that come out too, but the crazy thing is this is still the best one.
Yeah,
and we're still learning so much about it. And it's crazy to say, but and this has been a couple of years I've been saying this, over a quarter of a century of history with this game.
Yeah.
Just absurd.
Yeah. It's now 27 years old. I can't believe I've been playing the same video game for 27 years. 27 freaking years. Yeah. I feel like we're going to set a record with Brood War, man. Like, just people playing it forever. It's eventually, with health advances and everything, we might have a human that's been playing StarCraft for 100 years. Can't beat that.
Crazy. We were talking about the nostalgic period of this being on cable, and that's one of the big draws here for these people that grew up in the time when this was like the cool thing on TV. And it's still, by the way, one of the most watched games on stream now. So it's not like this is just all about nostalgia, but it is a cool period of time. It makes me think, and I don't think I've ever told this story before in a broadcast, but when I moved here, I had some friends helping me find an apartment for my first place to move into, because I was sleeping on a buddy's couch for a while before I had figured out what place to stay. And I remember a real estate agent picked me up in his car to drive me to a place, and my friends are with me because I didn't speak any Korean. And I remember in the car, he had one of those like little mini TVs. I don't know like what you'd call it. It's like one of these like defunct gadgets, but it was like a portable TV with an antenna on it, and it was hooked in his car, and he had StarCraft playing on there when he was driving me around. And I remember I turned to the guys, I'm like, did you tell him to put this on? Does he know like this is what we're into? And they were like, no. And I'm like, oh yeah, this is just like, he's just watching this. He has no idea that any of us are fans of StarCraft or anything. It was just so mainstream back then.
Yeah.
And it's not, cable's in a different spot obviously now, just because most young people, including myself, we don't really watch cable, right? Maybe like if a war breaks out or something, you like turn on the news, the cable news for that, try to see what's going on. But yeah, now it's all moved on to the streaming world, and it's so cool to see that now all these guys are free agents with these huge streams. And we've got this big ecosystem where, you could watch ASL online, but you can also watch these guys practicing and competing against each other from their own first-person perspectives, literally every night here in Korea. I don't know. This game's in a great spot.
I think so. Now, taking a look at this game, it is a factory opener from Light into his expansion. Everything looks standard from Jaedong. Light gets the add-on. I think he's going to go Starport. I think this is going to be Vulture Valkyrie, is my guess. But you can't tell for sure. The thing is, that's the only build where I've seen the slower Starport, where you don't get it right away. And he just added something, so we're going to hopefully check that out in a second here. And it is. Okay, so this will probably be Vulture Valkyrie. We'll see if he adds an armory coming up here. But this has been trending, and Light has been practicing this, and it's a very cool build. You get generally speed for your vultures, and you try to get some harassment done, and you just go heavy Valkyries with that and make a bunch of missile turrets, and you can go into mech or bio off of this. Yeah, that's exactly what it's going to be. Oh, this is exciting. Oh my god. I can't wait. This is like a lot of pros are working on this build right now, Tasteless. Like Scan has been telling me I've got to learn this build. I've been practicing it myself, so I'm really excited to see Light doing it here against Jaedong.
Yeah, this is all very, very cool to see here. And it's going to be a very different looking game from what we already casted. I mean, it was a much more Wraith heavy game than I was expecting from Light. I'm so used to just him having 4 or 5 Raxes and powering up and kind of roaming the map, sharking around. But, you know, I'm curious how his Valkyrie control is.
It's very good.
Valkyries are honestly, they score pretty low, like as far as what you can like do maneuvering with them.
Yeah.
Here come the speed vultures, so he wasn't able to punch a hole in there and slip through. The Lings are in a formation where they're just going to be airtight.
Well, he's going to scout the map a little bit with these vultures and just make sure there's no extra base out. The thing is, one thing that you really have to do with these vultures is keep tabs on what they're doing. Even if you're taking some damage and losing some, these are your only real hit ground unit. Like, he might sit on just one Marine for quite a while because you have to build enough turrets and you have to keep your Valkyrie production going no matter what. Like, you have to get up to at least about 6 Valkyries, I would say. I have no idea if Light is going to prefer going into mech or going into bio from here, which is, by the way, that's really, really new. Every single Valkyrie build was a bio build for the longest time. But this one with the heavy vulture usage, I have seen people successfully going into mech with it, which is just a completely new concept.
Yeah, the hard part about going mech against Zerg is kind of how do you get to the other end of it where it's strong, because you end up freeing up the map so much for the other player. Now, look at this. He's going to be able to hit these mutas from afar. Again, that damage is going to be spread across the entire group of Mutalisks here. So, you know, there's not going to be a lot of room for them to stay out there. It's very different than if you have, like, you know, Mutalisks versus, let's say, just turrets and Marines. Because what happens is as they dive in and out, a lot of times the auto-targeting just switches to another unit. So the damage gets distributed very, very evenly over the course of the game. And this is not going to be mech, by the way. He's going for 2 bio, Artosis.
Yes. Yes, he's throwing down that academy. He's getting his Marine upgrades going. So he's going to go into probably like a Marine medic siege tank. And I imagine that he will get a science vessel to go with this as well. But not necessarily, because he has these mines out. If the mines don't get cleared, then you can play this without a vessel. But basically, the vessel is needed in case of hold position lurker, where the lurkers are just like waiting as a trap. But when you have mines this far out, you can get all the way up there and then just scan once or twice and do the rest of the push. So we'll see if he ends up trying to go into... Yeah, see, he gets the science facility. So he's going to play it a little bit safe. You don't want to lose to just one lurker trap.
Oh, Jesus. What? Mind drags in this matchup? Okay.
Yeah. into Marine SCV? Like, what?
I know. Yeah.
It's not something you see every day.
Yeah. Certainly not at this phase of the game either. Maybe like in the end game, right? But so he's using Burrow. And this is always a great move. When you see Valkyries get made, getting your own Burrow is awesome because they have to scan to kill stuff, right? Or they have to get a vessel. And so just not having the vessel out as early makes your Burrow a lot stronger. Dude, you know, Jaedong's always been one of the best at basically flying in with the mutas hitting with the Scourge, and then having the Scourge like take out whether it's a Vessel or a Valkyrie in this case, and then getting back out.
That's one of the most important skills for Zerg to have in this matchup. If you can't reduce the flying units, Terran will win every game. Like Vessels are, if Vessels were invincible, man, that would be it. Like the game would be
it's funny.
Uninstalled.
He really made his name being the very first player to be like the best at that in the world on TV. Just kind of flying in there with the mutas and just taking it out of Vessel and then getting back out. Like just crazy stuff like that. And he did it again there too.
Superb Valkyrie control so far from Light. Still has 2 Valkyries. Didn't go as high as I thought he would. Instead, opting for only 3 Valkyries just for the anti-muta aspect to get himself into the Marine siege tank push a little bit faster. Don't forget, Valkyries are incredibly expensive at 250 minerals and 125 gas apiece with 3 supply.
Oh my god!
So it's like
funny?
really hard to macro up when you're making Valkyries.
I didn't even realize that's how much they costed. I thought it was a little bit less.
Yeah, no, they're really expensive. They're one of the most expensive Terran units. In fact, only BCs
crazy.
cost more than them. So,
yeah. So he's going to scan. He's going to see the Hivus here. That should prompt him to start to move out. Light's looking pretty fearsome. He's got a serious army at his disposal to try to come out here and hit this. Jaedong is going to go around with the lurkers. I don't know if he wants to counterattack, if he wants to try to, hide and hit at a certain angle. We were talking about hold position lurkers, but that doesn't work anymore once the vessels are out, assuming the vessel is actually being navigated with the units. Like if there were hold position lurkers in the middle of the map now, Light would run right into them. And for those of you that don't know, you can bug out lurkers by making them go on hold position with an overlord in the group, and they won't attack until you prompt them to. So it's a legal bug in tournaments.
Yeah. There's actually a new way to do it now where I think you tell it to attack something that's out of range or something. But wow, yeah, he loses a tank. Loses a tank there, which is really, really painful. Pulls the lurkers back. Now, Jaedong is actually making a really big army. His defilers are not going to be out in time. He's going to have to beat this the old-fashioned way.
Yeah. The problem is that if these lurkers get chased up here, there's not any really location for them to run around to, right? Like, they're going to get pushed into an extremely narrow area. Now, the Zerg could try to run and hit from both sides. It's going to be very hard to pull off. The position here is extremely good for Light. Oh, my God. Light's going to dive down here.
Oh, man. This looks really good for Light right now. These Zerglings are being bled off without much value. Light pulls back, chases these 2 lurkers away, and now he's going to resume his push. Jaedong has made a lot of units, but Light's army controlled really well can beat all of this.
Yeah, he's going to come in now. The lurkers are going to try to burrow down here. Is there actually enough?
Oh my God.
He's doing so much damage. There's still a couple tanks back here. The lurkers are going to slowly get in range. There's still enough Marines maybe over here onto the side. He's going to back up. This is looking eerily similar to game 1 we saw today where Jaedong put up a pretty good fight, but Light does have enough left over to keep pushing. He's going to put 2 lurkers on burrow on the high ground if he gets around to it. There we go.
Wow. This has been so well done from Light. Jaedong definitely in some trouble. It looks like he has Hydralisk speed now, so trying to utilize these some as well. Runs up with these lurkers. Can he actually pick this off? Oh my God. Can he kill this and get the tank?
Oh my God, they're so bad versus the tank. I think Jaedong just lost this game.
I think so.
He just died. I swear that tank, Hydras do not kill tanks that fast, by the way. It did seem like a questionable moment to try to attack in here. This is going to be a really easy angle to take this out. This game may end the way this series started here. Game 1 mirroring game 5.
Yeah, this is painful for Jaedong. He was close to holding that a couple times. I think Light just controlled so well. Light's build, it was perfectly engineered as well. Like this, again, this is the problem for Jaedong. And I guess for a lot of Zergs really is holding on until you have that Defiler tech. Now he has the Defiler tech out, but losing the 3rd base is generally just going to be the end of the game. Jaedong is double expanding. Can he hold on here? I think a big part of the... Well, there's a lot of problems here. Like, Light already has Vulture upgrades. He can lay a bunch of mines around still. He can go back into making Vultures. I think that's a great choice, in fact. He hasn't really lost many vessels. He can just continually irradiate. And it's going to be a while before Jaedong can get his gas back up to where it needs to be. So he's going to have to play more Zergling heavy. Yeah, everything looks really favored for Light right now.
Yeah, he's going to push in here now. And, you know, I think you made the important point, Tastosis, that, like, this is very losing for Zerg right now. The game will go on, but, like, Terran basically succeeded in their objective. Taking out the third base means a much weaker Zerg as the game progresses. And now he's already in a position to hit this next base. And I just don't see very much here for the Zerg. He does snipe the one tank down here that's outside of the Dark Swarm, but he's also hitting the hatchery. He's basically attacking through the Dark Swarm and not even respecting the units underneath it.
Yeah, Dark Swarms are up everywhere right now, but I don't think it even matters. Like, one Firebat trying to fight under there. Some good vessel pickoffs for sure. So that's really good. But some Firebats going towards that third gas location. Yeah, Light is starting to eliminate absolutely everything here. Yeah, and you can see he knows he's going to the round of 4.
Yeah, he did it. GG. Oh my God, what a series this one. Jaedong got so close, but he was not good enough. In the end, Light is the worthy one. He did it. He was expected to come out and win here, but we didn't know it was going to be such a back and forth, and Light is going to move on yet again to a round of 4 of an ASL.
Wow. Wow. I feel like it's been a while since he's been up there, but he played fantastically. He's in such good shape. Jaedong coming back when he was down 0-2 was so impressive. And in fact, you know, I almost feel like the 2 games Jaedong won were the 2 most impressive games in the series. But Light, I think games 1 and 5, he had perfect plans. He had really robust Mutalisk counters into really strong timing pushes to punish third bases. And he did fantastically with those.
Yeah, this was a funny interaction, right? Because the Lings did isolate the Marines down here, but then the Lurkers didn't really have any backup. I almost feel like the position just like 20 seconds before this was even more important. He just kind of had these units bullied back. And you can try to force blast this down, but, you know, Light's so good. Look at how he splits the Marines from side to side and kind of creates an arc. The tanks are just far down enough. The Lurkers have to leapfrog forward, but then the Marines on the right take it. And then it was actually the fight after this that I thought was the real most questionable moment. It's like he just tried to fight with Hydras here against a comp that he just was not going to beat. I mean, there's as many Marines as there are Hydras right now.
Yeah, by the way.
And a tank.
Yeah, they just showed he got +1 missile attacks. So I think he thought this was going to be mech. Against this, you need +1 carapace. That makes makes so much more sense. If he had +1 carapace instead of missile attacks in that really big engagement, he probably kills that army. Wow.
I'm so glad you noticed that.
ASL Season21 8강 세 번째
And that does it for the third quarterfinals match of ASL Season 21. Let's meet this season's third player through to the round of 4. It's Light. Congratulations. Thank you.
시즌 19 이후 2시즌 만에 다시 한번
You're once again back in the round of 4 and securing a seed in 2 seasons since Season 19. You advance with the series going to the rubber match. Let me ask how you feel with that win. I don't think I've ever been happier than this. I'm so happy to win. Honestly, things got a little messy after I lost that third set. It shook me mentally, and then I also lost the 4th game. I worried that it would all go over to Jaedong. So, instead of playing what I had prepared for the 5th set, I played something else. I'm glad it worked and I was able to win. Your son is up on stage with you today, congratulating his dad. His name is Tinny, right? Oh, he seems so happy. I bet there is nothing could make this moment happy for you, Light, as your family lent you so much strength as you went the distance in that match. Right.
근데 1, 2세트 정말 좀
With good momentum, you claimed victory in the first and second set, at which point we wondered if a perfect score is possible. To be honest, you were off to a good start in the third set. Right. If we look back at Game 3, at what point did things go wrong for you? To be frank, when I won that first game, I thought to myself, wow, today's going to be a breeze. In the second game, I was worried about one scenario that could come out that I wasn't too familiar with, and exactly that happened. Somehow, I won and went into the third game feeling confident. I thought, well, this match will be over after the third set. I was surprised with Jaedong's maneuvering in that game. I was very taken aback. And the bad spell continued on into the fourth set with so many things going wrong. What started as a 2-0 lead suddenly turned into a 2-2 tie. What were you feeling as you went into the fifth, the final set? That game was structured the way I had planned. I planned for one single big fight, and when it finally came, I fought really well. I was able to win thanks to that. This single push that went really well. If in the first and second sets we were able to see you use Wraiths to great effect, in the last one, it was Speed Vultures and Valkyries. Was this also part of your overall plan if the series went to Game 5? I prepared a lot of different things and picked out what to use from my arsenal as we went. I'm proud of myself seeing how much I practiced and I'm advancing. It's been a season of trials and tribulations for you, starting with a round of 16 light. Nothing goes easy, does it? Right. Last time I went to the round of 4, I lost to Best. Thinking about Snow and Flash this time, I'm already feeling dizzy. But if I manage to get through this round of 4, I think I might be able to challenge for the championship once again after Season 13. I'll prepare well, and I want to press for the trophy. The trying path that Lion has taken has only resulted in him getting stronger. Who do you think you would have to play to have a slightly better chance of getting to the finals? Snow or Flash? Honestly, I have no confidence against either. But the reason I would like to play Flash more so than Snow is there was a time where I beat Flash just once, and afterwards it allowed me to spread my wings when it comes to playing in offline tournaments here in the ASL. It was a season where Flash won the trophy, winning all of the games except for one map against me. I think that's when I started improving. I'm curious as to how I would square up against Flash now, so I would like to play against him. I'm sure many people will be watching tomorrow's match as well to see if this picture you're painting comes to fruition. Would you like to address your fans and colleagues who are still here in the studio despite the late hour? I'd like to thank all of YB crew who came here to the studio, my friends from YB crew, my friends from High Academy, my family, and so on. I was able to win today because I had so many people cheering for me. I'll prepare well for the round of 4 and try to win the championship. And I had a lot of friends who helped me practice. Sulky, Queen, Lava, Action. Hang on. Oh, Baxter and Effort. These guys helped me a lot. I'd like to tell them how thankful I am. Once more, wholehearted congratulations on making the round of 4. See you during the semi-finals. Thank you. We've just heard from Light as he makes it into the round of 4 after a neck-and-neck series that went the distance. Let's take a quick recap of today's result.
Well, there you have it, everybody. That's going to do it for the end of the show here. Light does move on But Jaedong put up a great fight, and I think Jaedong's going to be back in a position like this, maybe even next season, Artosis.
Yeah. This was a very tough round for him. He had one of the hardest group of deaths ever in the round of 16 and smashed it.
Yeah.
So we know he's good enough. He brought Light to Light's limits. But the thing is, Light is, as I said, literally the best player in the world against Jaedong. He has been. He continues to be. So that is the toughest match he could have gotten. I think he's in a better spot against everyone else in the round of 8. So a tough one.
And I'm super excited about this one. Snow versus Flash is coming up next.
I can't wait, Tasteless. This is the best PvT
so
player ever against the best TVP player ever. There's just no question about that. What are they going to have prepared? I think Snow is going to play his normal game, very Reaver-centric. But for Flash, like Flash, I think is going to bring some tricks. You know, I think he's going to have figured some things out. He's been hiding his practice. He's been hiding his strategies. And it's time to let loose the best TVPs he's ever played.
Yeah. This is going to be a real insight into the matchup overall and how we understand it. The last time these guys played, Snow did win. Unprecedented, by the way. So that's going to be just so fun to see how they approach it and what ideas are going to be in play. And yeah, I think you're probably right. Probably all Reaver, probably no DT rushes, but you never know. And yeah, I also totally agree with your analysis, Artosis. I think Flash is going to do some crazy stuff in that to try to play around the way that Snow approaches it.
I think so. I'm very excited to see it. Cannot wait. The round of 4 starting to shape up, Tasteless. If Snow doesn't advance, then it's not going to be the perfect balance that we're so used to in the round of 4. Isn't that crazy?
That's right. Yeah, crazy. Yeah, I'm just looking forward to it, man. I think this is going to be such a special moment. And to look at Flash advances, what a great TVT we're going to have here. And what was initially a very TVT-heavy season, we're going to end this on a TVT high note, Artosis.
Yeah, it could be. That would be amazing. And who knows? Can Leda cheese out Soma? I don't think so,
Leda
but maybe.
Flash TVT in the finals. We're going to find out, guys.
That would be the funniest ever. Leda in the finals, man. That would be the Cinderella story of all time. But yeah, very much looking forward to that next round. I'm glad that we kept the finals venue on screen for 4 hours. But yeah, it was a really great round of 8 match.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Be sure to come back tomorrow where we're going to be casting the best TVP possibly of the decade. Artosis, any closing thoughts?
No, that'll do it. Guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next match.